Yes, hello, I'm James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR458. It doesn't get any bigger or more exciting than this. Tonight, heroes will be made and legends remembered forever. It's Wrestle Kingdom 17, and I am not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team on the very first WNR of 2023. Up first, by my side for every WWE and AEW show is, of course, the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Jaxie, Happy New Year.
Hello. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, James. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm really excited. I guess you are as well, because your man is in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom.
Of course. Such great anticipation going into the new year with what better way to kind of start off 2023 than to see Kazuchika Okada in the main event against Jay White. This is going to be an exciting discussion.
Yeah, I cannot wait. And again, we talk about the start of 2023, but the end of 2022 had a bit of controversy, as we say, because, of course, we did the year-end predictions. And basically, Jaxie, it was you who smashed the year-end predictions like no one has in the history of the WNR. But, of course, we were having complaints. A lot of emails. A lot of people were saying that you should have had 4 points instead of 2 because you picked the people in AEW. I didn't agree with them, but again, if you have to listen to the public as it was, but what happens is this makes it even again. So well done for that. So even if I give you another 2 points, that means we'd be level. But what makes it even better?
I mean, like to be. Well...
Go on. I was going to say. So how do you feel that we're level before I ruin it for you?
Well, first of all, I was going to say, with year-end predictions done, I feel like we should just kind of keep the scores as is. But I feel like the hashtag Justice for Jaxie actually worked. So, I'm happy to keep like the scoreboard as it was at the end of that podcast. But it's good to know that I've got a bit of a team that agreed with me on this. With the points there.
But the funny thing is, if we were level, so to speak, one thing we didn't account for was the fact that Charlotte became women's champion on the last edition of SmackDown to the end of the year.
Oh, dear. That is so unfair.
And as I picked her for my Raw women's champion,
point from me, right?
I would have had a point extra for Charlotte. So instead of me beating you, it's Charlotte. So how about that?
Oh my gosh, this bitch won't leave me alone, will she? Me and her are never gonna get on. She always comes around to ruin my high. Swear down, James. She's got a personal vendetta with me. I've taken this personally.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about Charlotte. No, we don't talk about Charlotte. But we'll move on.
No, we don't.
Move on. Up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan deity. It is, of course, Monty. I bet you're buzzing for today, Monty, here, and we're going to review Wrestle Kingdom.
Definitely. We do a lot of reviews, James, all for the last few years. I've sat through a lot. I even did Impact for you, James. I did Impact. And every time I think of Impact, I think about how a few years ago I thought they were out of business, literally done, and they're still around. Shout out to them for surviving as long as they have and continue to do. But yes, I'm very, very excited. You're damn right. Reviewing Wrestle Kingdom, my favorite event for a long time, and just another chance to show the world what makes New Japan so special. This is New Japan at its best, Wrestle Kingdom, every year. And we're capping it off their 50th year with a bang with Wrestle Kingdom 17.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And during Christmas, I'll just let you know that I watched quite a lot of New Japan events, and one of them was Rumble on 44th Street, or the night before Rumble on 44th Street. I know, catchy title. And a certain wrestler caught my eye. And I just asked you, I mean, you can confirm or deny, but there was a wrestler here called Mighty Monty. And the way he moved around the ring, young man, reminded me of the New York area. Now, Monty, is there anything you want to tell the team before we start 2023?
I have no
hold it
clue.
back on us, Monty?
I have no connection. Nothing. I have nothing to say about that. Even if I did, I would do it in the way that Sami Zayn would do it, and I say I have no knowledge of this individual, no knowledge of him. Don't know what he's talking about.
He does wear a mask. I'm not gonna lie, and he spells Monty Mante, but it is Monty pronunciation. So, like we said, we might have an El Generico situation here. But again, I'm glad you're here, Monty for New Japan. And
So I think that's going to be your new nickname, Mighty Monty.
Well, Mighty Monty,
right up there with
indeed.
Mighty Molly. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Anyway.
Well, last but by no means least, a woman who ended 2022 on fire and is looking to win everything in 2023. Yes, Gina's turning Japanese. I think Gina's turning Japanese. I really think so. Gina's turning Japanese. I think Gina's turning Japanese. I really think so. It is, of course, Gina. How you doing? Are you turning Japanese? Ready for Wrestle Kingdom here today?
Hey guys. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely going to embody it. I mean, I've been to Japan a couple of times, so I definitely going to try and bring that energy with me.
Well, I think without a shadow of that, and I've got a little bit. It's not beef between us at all, but I've got something to speak to you about, really, and I don't want to know what's. Talk about your Twitter banner. Of course, you know, part of the WNR team, and I don't know what's worse, really, on your Twitter banner, not calling yourself part of Team WNR, or that you still love Ricky Starks. Now, I don't want to start. I know how upset you were to end 2022, but. I mean, how are you feeling about that? And maybe it's time to just let go, you know?
I mean, I haven't updated my Twitter banner because I've completely forgotten about it, if I'm truly honest. That's the only reason it's not been updated. But guys, I am still heartbroken. I will never trust another Ricky Starks out there. But he's still really hot, so I just can't... I can't remove his name. I'll get over it soon enough, and he'll be wiped from my memory. But for now, the love still lingers.
Yeah. No, I'm exactly the same with McIntyre, so I know how you're feeling there. But we'll talk about, we've got the entire team here.
My man is nowhere near in the same pool as McIntyre. I'm sorry, I can't. He's not in the same pool.
Yeah, you're right about that. And
said he don't measure up.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Drew is definitely Premier League. Yeah. Anyway, we're not starting arguing. We're not going to start arguing about this.
He's about to get relegated, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, we shall see, shan't we? You know? Big
What is going on?
I don't know. I didn't plan this. What I did plan, though, was the show we have today. Come on, we've got catch-up on Stardom, Tag League, New Year's Dash, and, of course, Wrestle Kingdom. So let's start with the historic. I thought it was called the historic X-Over until I started watching the event and then realised it's the historic crossover, which makes a lot more sense. November 26th, it was the first joint show between Stardom and New Japan. I did watch the entire event, but Monty, this was historic even in your eyes. I know we talked about it because it is the first time these two companies have actually worked together under the same banner.
Right, yeah, man. Like, even as you guys call me a deity, but like, come on, man. Like, I've only been watching it consistently for 6 years. So yeah, it's by comparison to most, I probably am. But this was like an unprecedented, especially not only just in the last 6 years, but ever, like you just mentioned, between the two promotions, and to see the two biggest and two most prominent Japanese promotions representing women and men, you know, in the world, to do a show together. Like you said, it was a lengthy show, good 5-hour show, but it was worth it because it was special. There's a lot of things that I had never seen before. A lot of people, new faces from Stardom, people that I was trying to learn myself. So this was a fun ride for me because, like, I've always been interested in some of these names. It was great to finally put a face or to watch them wrestle after knowing their name. I've heard of a lot of these women before, so to see them in the ring with a lot of our New Japan favorites. And this was also worked double too, because right after this tag league started, so this was a preview in some cases for some of the tag teams that would be in tag league, because we saw a lot of those situations where they were involved on the card too. So yeah, it was definitely a historic night for both promotions.
Yeah, without a shadow of doubt. And just quick notes from it. Zack Sabre Jr. had a blast with Julia beating Siriu and Tom Law, a really good match. Lord Gideon Gray mixing it with Shingo, Naito, Hiramu was an absolute hoot. I thought, does he actually know where he is? Shota Umino put on a career best performance, coming up short versus Will Ospreay. And of course, the IWGP Women's Championship, Kari defeating Mayu Iwatani in a fantastic way to introduce their belt. It's a dramatic war with incredible themes running throughout. And this is the thing. I mean, Jaxie, did you see this match with Kari winning the title for the first time? I know the whole event was about 5 hours long, but to see it treated like this, I think it's a great matchup.
Definitely. It was a really great match. I hadn't seen much of Kyrie's opponent before, so this was a great way to introduce her to me. It's definitely piqued my interest with, watching the G1 and getting a chance to start looking at Stardom as well. But I think that this was just an excellent match. It really showed off well, and really glad to see Kyrie be the first champion winner in this case.
Yeah, I think without that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love women's wrestling, and with Impact, as we talked about, it's always been the best. But for 2023, English commentary and access to Stardom events, I think will open up another new door to the WNR. Like I said, being the kind of biggest eye opener for me, being able to actually watch talent before the kind of USA gobbles them up, and you see the real emotion in the match as well.
Exactly, yeah. It's just been quite an interesting year for wrestling in general, and now at the beginning of 2023 is more looking like an exciting year ahead of what's to come.
Yeah, without a doubt. But we're still going to finish up 2022. Look at the Tag League now, because New Japan announced a combined World Tag League and Super Junior Tag League, which started November 21st and conclude December 14th. 17 shows in total. So the main tag league, Monty, how long has this tag league been going on? It's just basically no one contenders to face the tag champions at Wrestle Kingdom, which is another very clever way of doing it. But has this kind of been like a traditional thing that happens throughout the years?
Yes, I think this is on its 10th year. This year it started in 2012 with you would never guess who was the tandem to win the first with Godo. Godo and Carl Anderson of all people. You would not think they would be the tandem, but yeah, that was back in Carl Anderson's Chaos days, and he was a babyface. But yeah, so
that's so random.
Right, exactly. It's very random, but now when you think about it, but Godo, who's in this situation, he's done it plenty of times, but over in this last decade. But to see all these teams together, like you said, it's such a masterful way to narrow down who do you want to be your contenders, even as champions, to compete with everybody. That's what kind of bummed me out about FTR not being in their heavyweight tag leagues, because usually the champions are in there, kind of like you saw with Catch 22 was able to be in the junior tag league. They were able to fight most of New Japan's tag teams, really the rest of them, and almost had a chance at the end now to be in the finals. So and possibly choose their opponents for Wrestle Kingdom. That's the caveat if you're a champion, if you win. So it's a chance that rarely happens, but it's a chance, kind of like in the G1, for that to happen. So it's an awesome idea, and it's always a great fun way for New Japan to kind of flex how well they put together tag team wrestling.
Okay, so we got the teams for the main. So we had I might butcher some of these names, so I do apologise. I'm going to get a little bit better. Bishamon, which is Goto and Yoshihashi. You had House of Torture, which is Evil and Yuraho Takahashi. I want to get this name by the end of the year. I'm going to set myself. I got Los Ingo, Naito and Sanada, their team.
Los Ingo. Some people just say Los Ingo because they give up too.
No, I want it. I want it all. That's what
Los Ingobernables.
Los Ingobernables.
There you go.
I'm going to work
Ingobernables. But that works close enough.
Yeah. Aaron Hanare and Great Khan from United Empire. Bebop Tag Team, Toriano and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Aussie Open, Mark Davis and Carl Fletcher. Suzuki-gun, Lance Archer, and of course Minoru Suzuki. Bullet Club, Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens. The Mighty Don't Kneel, Shane Haste and Mikey Nicholas. It was interesting to see these guys because, of course, they were TM6-1 back in NXT in the day. Gabriel Kidd.
Slapjack.
Gabriel Kidd and Alex Coughlin, honestly, two guys that are great there as well. So, Gina, out of those team, we're going to get onto the results and anything like that. But, Gina, for you, who would be your pick to face FTR at that moment in time? Just talk about the names.
Is one of the teams the United Empire team?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, those guys. I can't remember their names. Sorry.
Hanare and Great O'Khan. We bow to Great O'Khan, of course.
Yeah. Definitely. I would love to see that, to be honest, straight up.
And then we've got the Junior Super Tag League as well, which had Catch... Is it Catch 22? Is that what it is, Monty? Yeah.
Yes, Catch 22.
Yeah. Which is Akira
Catch Nini in Japan.
TJ. We've got Leo Rush and Yo. Of course, we've got Bushi and Titan for Los Ingos. Bullet Club, Ace Austin, Chris Bay. Flying Tiger, Robert Eagles and Tiger Mask. House of Torture, Dick Togo, yes, that one, and Show. Wild Hips, which is Taguchi, and Clark Connors. How fucking random. Suzuki Gun, which is Dookie, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, get it. And the wooden stick, or wooden spoon, Kushida giving Kevin Knight to team with, and El Lindemann and Alex Zane, which is crazy there.
Yeah.
So, Gina, again, anybody standing out there, Gina, on the junior tag side that you thought they might be your winners?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked the look of Leo Rush and Yo. They just kind of stood out to me, and I really enjoyed kind of seeing them tag together. So they were at the top of my list.
Well, my history when it comes to picks in tournaments hasn't been great, so I picked and followed Bay and Ace throughout. And don't worry, guys, I'm not going to put you through it now, but in a couple of weeks' time on the Impact podcast, I will be reviewing every match that they had in the Junior Tag League. I bet people can't wait for that. And of course, this being New Japan, going into the last match, of course, it was a five-way tie for first place. Rush and Yo, Austin and Bay, Zane and Lindemann, Bushi Titan, TJP and Akira all entered the final night of the round-robin action on December 10th with a 6-2 record and 12 points. Zane and Lindemann lost to Kanemaru and Dookie, while Yo and Roosh defeated Bushi and Titan. Austin and Bay defeated TJP. So my boys beat the champions. Thank you very much. So Yo and Rush, fucking hell, the pronunciation of it. Bay and Austin finished with 7 wins and 14 points, setting up the final showdown between the two teams. Monty, there wasn't any really surprise there, was there?
You know, it was tight, like you said there at the end, but I did think that these were probably the two best teams probably consistently that would make a great final of contenders for the titles. Because like the only other team you could say that probably would have made more sense would have been the champs themselves. So yeah, I think these two teams coming out on top at the end is the good final to have.
Yeah. Well, as for the main tag league, we see Bishamon will face Aussie Open on December 14th. On the final night of the round robin, we saw Naito and Sanada needed to win to remain in the hunt, but lost to Evil and Takahashi in the semi-main event. Then Bishamon defeated the Mighty Don't Kneel in the main event to secure the spot against Aussie Open on December 14th. Goto and Yoshihashi won the 2021 World Tag League last year, defeating House of Tortures, Evil and Takahashi in the final. This is Aussie Open's first time competing in the tournament. Jaxie, it won't be their last, because one thing that we have really taken away from 2022 as well is how good Aussie Open not only are, but will be, and definitely deserve their place in the final.
Oh, definitely. I think they proved it, piqued everyone's interest, just even turning up at Forbidden Door, you know. You could just see how well they work together. they're a really solidified unit, especially, kind of coming across with Will Ospreay. They come across as such a solidified team. So I have no doubt that Aussie Open are just going to be having quite an impact on 2023 going forward.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Well, we get the Tag League finals then, December 14th. We get Alex Zane and El Lindemann defeating Oaya and Fuchua. Fuck it, good, close enough. Shane Hasty and Michael Nicholas defeated Kevin Knight and Kishida. Good to see the original TMDK. Akira, TJP, Greater Khan, and Hanare defeated Gabriel Kidd, Alex Coughlin, Robbie Eagles, and Tiger Mask. Dookie, Kanemura, Lance Archer, and Suzuki defeated Evil, Shodik Togo, and Taka. After the match, Suzuki took a microphone to make an announcement. He spoke of the faction's history, acknowledged the development of the members under the umbrella of Suzuki-gun. To end this somber promo, Suzuki announced the faction would disband at the end of the year. Monty, what does that mean? Does that mean Suzuki's retiring, or is it, again, has Suzuki-gun just run its, is it time to end it?
Yeah, it's the latter. Minoru Suzuki said for 11 years they ran crazy in New Japan, really across Japan, because at one point they were so bad they got exiled from New Japan and was sent to another promotion to run rampant over there. And I think it was Noah at time. Anyway, like I said, Suzuki-gun has been a menace to most rosters for a while, for at least the last 11 years. And, so he, like he said, his goal in New Japan was to use his army. That's what Suzuki-gun is, his army. He use his army to win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. That they've always come close. He won the IC belt. He's battled Okada to a draw for at once before, but never won that belt. So he thought that the group as itself at that time had run its course. Everyone had come so far. Even people like Doki over the last 3 years have came a long way as far as like popularity and just how much people believe in him as a wrestler. El Desperado. We know about Zack Sabre Jr. and you have Lance Archer all the way in AEW. So again, it's just a lot of reasons why it just makes most sense for him in this state to end Suzuki-gun and continue on his path alone, or possibly doing other things in the future. He may not be alone. We'll see what happens as time goes on. But yeah, everyone is splitting up. They're going their own way. And at going into this new year into wrestling in 2023, every member of Suzuki-gun will be having different responsibilities now, possibly even fighting each other. You'll see people like Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr., who are a great tag team together, possibly opponents again. And they'll still have love for each other because of Suzuki-gun, but they're gonna fight. So yeah, Suzuki-gun is over, but it's all just a new chapter. He's not retiring. He said he will not leave until he wins the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So Suzuki, you're not getting rid of Suzuki that easy.
Well, we see Titan, Bushi, Sanada, and Naito defeating Clark Connors, Taguchi, Yano, and Tanahashi. Then Ishimori, Dick Togo, Jay White, Bullet Club defeated Masawato, Tamatonga, and Kazuchika Okada. This was a very good match. Jay White left them all laying and stood on his neck. We had the Never Openweight Championship. Carl Anderson defeating Hikuleo. Carl didn't come back to drop titles, I guess. This was a surprise. He cut a promo afterwards, declaring himself the greatest Never Openweight champion. He said he would be champion for all time until Tamatonga walked out. They went Tama shy for the gun stun, bounced in reverse and hit one of his own. And they announced he would face Tama at the Tokyo Dome. And again, I was a little bit surprised. I mean, Gina, we've seen Carl Anderson go back to WWE. I thought that kind of be one and done. And for him to actually have a match at Wrestle Kingdom, do you think Tama's the right choice over Hikuleo if he is going to drop the championship?
I mean, it's hard for me to say, really, because, again, I'm still kind of new coming into the storyline, so I don't know sort of the historical background that these guys all have. But I'm excited by both Tamatonga and Hikuleo. So for me, I wasn't truly bothered on which one because I was happy to see both of them. But I don't know. I think I was still happy with Tama getting it. So.
Yeah. I just think he's maybe a little bit more experience. Like I said, a little bit more. He deserves it after the year he had. You know?
Yeah, for sure. The year he
had,
from what I saw, he was on fire.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, just to sort of add my little piece in here, with regards to that, I think it was probably the better choice for Tama Tonga, considering the fact that he had dealt with the betrayal from the Bullet Club, you know, worked his way back up, really tried his hardest against Jay White, didn't really manage to defeat him or take that belt, but we knew that he wasn't done, you know, and by just getting this one up over Carl Anderson is a one up over the Bullet Club again. Hikuleo, I have no doubt, would have been a great champion, but I don't think he needs it right now. I think with the current run that Tama Tonga had, he really needed a chance to be able to win some gold, you know, or deserved it at least in this point.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And then we get the Super Junior Tag League Finals. My boys, Chris Bay and Ace Austin from the Bullet Club versus Leo, as they started to become, which I didn't mind. But my Impact boys come up just short. But what a run they had. Ace and Bay have it in spades. And I don't know what it is, but it's something about Leo I just don't like. And I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Just don't know about him. But I thought my Impact boys were unlucky. But Monty, instead of me being biased, Bay and Austin performed fantastically, not only in this match, but in the tournament as a whole.
Yeah, they represented themselves really well, and they the entire time they represented Impact. So I thought that was great too. You know, and they were one of the best and definitely one of the highlights of the tournament. They were definitely, if they're both available, will be getting invited back. You'll probably see them before the tournament that they actually did so good. So, you know, because usually when you score really high in those tournaments in New Japan, that usually means, you know, they have a lot of belief in what you're capable of. And I think, like I said, if they're both available and they decide to come back, you will see more of them at the top of your card. And honestly, if you obviously, and I don't mind it, you're very biased, but the only thing I have to say, for you to say that about Leo after that match, because that match was really good.
No, not
that
there's no doubt,
was really good.
There's no doubt he's talented.
But it's fine.
But,
it's fine.
You know, 205 live, seeing him and being like, yeah, impressive. Seeing his NXT, I don't know. I expect in 2 months' time for him to have an argument with management and walk away and retire again.
You see, that's fair. That's fair. You never know what to expect. Now, I'm not saying that. Yeah, exactly. But as far as what he does when he's there, in the ring,
that's unlikable. I should say he's more unlikable. All right, I don't like him. Gotcha. Not talent. I just wouldn't invite him to a party. Yeah, could he probably be late anyway?
Yeah. I chose Team Leo not just be only reason. Really, it wasn't even about. It wasn't really even about Leo though. It was more so about Yo, who after picking this up won his fourth Super Junior Tag League. Yo is a Super Junior Tag Team specialist. And by the way, he's only been around
this is
for
4 or
5 years.
Did you let anybody know that, Monty? And this is a bone I'm going to pick.
Why would I tell you that?
Why didn't you let anybody know that? Hey,
it wasn't relevant. You should know he used
had
to
a
be
different
Show's
partner
teammate.
every time he's won.
Yeah, it was
Show.
Show.
Yes.
We
Show was
the tag
his
team
original
bit.
partner.
The tag team bit.
Roppongi 3K. Yeah, and Show turned his back on him.
Yeah, thanks for that, Monty. Yeah, see, Monty didn't help us yet again. It'd be the equivalent of us watching
you could have given us
WrestleMania.
more context.
Yeah, watching old WrestleMania and picking the Undertaker's opponent. You know, and Monty just laughing and going, "Oh, you picked against the Undertaker." Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah.
Well, it's no fun if I give it away. If I just say, this guy always wins it, so go with him.
Oh, fucking hell.
Try your best. Believe in someone.
The tag titles have changed 10 times at Wrestle Kingdom. No one fucking let me know.
Hey, man.
Well, we'll get to that.
You pick it up as you go. It up as you go.
Well, who would face FTR at Wrestle Kingdom? We found out, Tag League Finals. Yoshihashi and Hiroko Goto Bishman defeating Mark Davis and Carl Fletcher was the open. This was, again, a fantastic match. Jaxie, did you see the match? And for me, Bishman is something that I've not seen a lot of in New Japan. You know, the tag team expert. This is my kind of first experience of them, and I was pretty impressed because I know what Aussie Open can do, and I thought it was a good match as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Again, I really thought Aussie Open were going to win it here. It was a really great match, and I didn't. A lot of the time there was like certain moments that just came out of nowhere. So there was a few like real sort of jump surprises that just worked really well. But overall, great match.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Also, Goto's fourth.
And again,
and the thing about them is the best chemistry Goto has ever had with a partner since he teamed with Shibata, his best friend. So there you go. Who he also won 1 week.
Okay, so how many times has he won with Yoshihashi then?
That's 2 now. So he got 1 last year, got this one with Yoshihashi.
So write that
he
down.
Got 1 with Shibata, and then the one I told you about with Carl Evans.
Right. So year end, as long as we put Goto down, right?
Tag League specialist.
Goto and Yo. Got it.
Goto and Yo. Don't forget that. So that is Tag League. Like I said, but all we got is Wrestle Kingdom. But a bit of news. Because I don't know if we spoke about on pod or not. I think we did mention it. Greater Khan is the undisputed British heavyweight champion. Yes, Rev Pro have given it to our hero, or your hero and mine, Greater Khan. This will be very interesting to see what they do here, but I'm not going to argue with it. You know, if he wants to be British champion, he can be. All he wants is fine. You know, that man, we talked about it, Monty. That man made magic on Twitter in 2022, and I can't think of a better representation of Britain in 2023 than a guy that rides a massive penis. You know?
Oh my God! I don't think I need to add much after that. That's great. I also want to add this, though. I do want to say this about this thing. The Great O'Con did not beat who was the actual champion.
We know.
We'll
Ricky
see what
Knight,
happens.
Ricky Knight was out. I know. We saw this.
Okay, all right. I'm just giving Ricky some. I'm just saying. Come on, he's a British champion. You're supposed to be defending him.
Can you explain to us newbies like what happened? Because I don't know what happened. You gonna explain it?
Yeah, you gonna explain it, Monty? Go on.
Well, it's still in the Brit. He wasn't there. I don't know exactly why.
Right,
I don't watch
Zack Zodiac,
he wasn't there,
who took the place of Ricky Knight Jr., who wasn't at the card. So Zack Zodiac lost it to Greater Khan to lose the undisputed British
obviously O'Khan is going to have to fight Ricky at some point. That's all I was saying. He could very well beat his ass too. We'll see.
They're all connected. And like I said, it is Soraya's brother
kinfolk, right? Yeah,
it's a niece or nephew. That's what it is. She's the auntie.
Yeah, something
there
like
you go.
That.
It's all any knights you hear in British wrestling. That's who they're all based
are
basically.
Probably related. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all from Norwich. They're all related. That's what happens. So the last.
I mean, it makes Britain sound like really wrong when you say it like that. But we're not everybody like that.
Not web feet or anything. Just just related. Like they do in other places. I'm sure in America as well. That'll be. Anyway,
definitely.
We'll talk about the main event of the New Japan show of the year. Was the final match for Suzuki-gun, an 8-man tag match, so all members pit against one another. Zack Sabre Jr., Taichi Kanemaru and Dookie faced Taka Michinoku, El Desperado, Lance Archer, and Suzuki himself, which again was a very, very fun match indeed. We saw all 8 men giving the appropriate gesture after the match as well, which was a way to go out, Monty. Do you know what I mean? A team, after all this, standing in the ring, like I said, moving on to bigger and better things, hopefully, in 2023.
Exactly. And this is unspeakable, by the way. They were villains. Like I said, exiled. They were hated. The people, the crowd, even Suzuki mentioned it when they would cheer for them after this match at the anniversary, at the send-off match, and the people were cheering. He was even like, oh, so you cheer us now. No more die, Suzuki, die, and all of that. So they were villains, hated. So just show you how great and how much respect they gained over a decade of just hard work and just being those, great villains and just most of the time. As a matter of fact, even when they're kind of babyface these last few years, they were still doing the same stuff. So they didn't change. The people just kind of liked it now. So yeah. Anyway, the point is, Suzuki Gun is a legendary faction. I didn't even mention this earlier, but shout out to Shelton X Benjamin, who's a former member. They even showed love to him on social media because he was in Suzuki Gun back in the day. So yeah, it's a nice send off, like you said. The fact that think about that. WWE does these anniversary shows with like DX every now and then and all that type of stuff, but this is like they're not gonna fight anymore. Let's just give them the ring. Let's let them all have it out and send them off on their own way.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful. I really like that because I wasn't even used to seeing the things like this happen because it hasn't happened. I haven't even been able to see a faction split up like this. So this is great.
Like you said, and it shows the respect for Suzuki and of course,
yes,
respect. That's yeah, and again, you're not going to tell him he can't do it.
Exactly. Who's going to stop him?
Who's going to have a word? So we'll move on and we'll talk about the Wrestle Kingdom being the big event at the start of January, but first event in January 1st, was from Noah, which of course was headlined by the great Muta versus Shinsuke fucking Nakamura. I don't know if anybody actually watched the match, but I got a chance to see it. Great entrances. Drums and violin playing in Nakamura. Gina, when you look at something like this, you think, how can they not do this for Nakamura in WWE? It just makes him a bigger star, and he's not even done anything in the ring yet, just through his entrance.
It is true, for sure. Like, you see this, and you kind of just get reminded on how big Nakamura actually still is and how many people still truly love him. And you just see him on this platform, and it's a complete different feeling to just seeing how his character was portrayed in the WWE sector, And yeah, I don't know what they're doing wrong, but they just seem to be missing all the best bits. They don't utilize the talent that they've got. They just kind of throw them away, and then we get reminded of this just greatness that actual character can like bring with them. So yeah, it's just another missed shot by WWE.
Well, like I said, we'll talk about the match in itself, but hopefully Nakamura can get more exposure like this in WWE in 2023. It certainly looked impressive enough. It was a New Year event at the Budokan Hall. The finish of the match had Nakamura kicking out of Muta's Shining Wizard, which basically no one ever does, who was misted by Muta during the match, retaliated with a mist of his own after basically sucking it out of Muta's mouth, hitting him with it, and then pinning him with the Kinshasa. After the match, Nakamura thanked Muta, calling him his idol, celebrated in the ring briefly, and both posed as the show went off the air. Of course, it's Nakamura's first match outside of WWE since 2017, and while doing press for this match, Nakamura called the agreement a miracle, noting it wouldn't have happened under the previous Vince McMahon regime. Keiji Muta will next appear at Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th, teaming. It's a match we're going to see soon. But he will have two retirement shows. One's of the great Muta on January 22nd, when he will team with Sting and Darby Allin. Then another as Keiji Muta on February 21st at the Tokyo Dome. I mean, I'm happy as long as he doesn't use like disgusting slurs we saw afterwards. But Jaxie, they do string it out a little bit in Japan. Retirement tours. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I'm just quite shocked to hear that you say that he's got like another 2 retirement matches. I thought this was.
No, they do it big in Japan, man. They give you a farewell tour, not just a match.
Oh my God, Jesus! I mean, you've got to really have kind of a lot of history to be able to warrant like 3 different retirement matches. That being said, I'd be excited to see him team with Darby Allin and Sting. What's the other match that he's got?
They haven't announced it yet, but it'd probably be, I don't know, I'm not sure who they'd be able to use, but it's a couple of months to still book it.
Yeah. I mean, again, fair play to him for, getting a chance to sort of maybe live out some last minute sort of dream matches that he might have wanted is always exciting. And just to know that, you know, Hunter probably was the one to be able to allow Nakamura to be able to do this. You just got to show a little bit of appreciation, because we could have missed this thanks to a bitter old man. So, you know, again, a big shout out to Hunter for allowing Nakamura to be able to be part of something so iconic and something that means so much to him and his wrestling career. It would have been such a shame if he hadn't been allowed to have had that match with Muta.
Without a doubt. Well, now, if you think you've had a bad end of 2022 into 2023, then just spare a second for FTR, because they were the greatest things going for the majority of the year. Unfortunately, final battle with Ring of Honor, losing the Ring of Honor tag team titles to the Briscoes. Of course, losing to the Arse Boys on Dynamite, which, again, seemed like a drug-fueled rampage, so to speak. I don't know why.
That was just embarrassing.
Yeah, just like, come on. Even Vince didn't do that to them. Like, come on.
I mean, no, I'm sorry. I still think that Vince did worse. Vince, you know, had a whole segment of them waxing each other's backs. I think that's probably a much more degrading like moment for FTR. However,
not.
We all knew
that
it's
hard
there was
to
a
beat.
downfall. We always knew there was going to be a downfall at some point for FTR. It's just such a shame that like this downfall has happened sooner rather than later, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, they went to, like I said, defend the AAA World Tag Team titles against Dragon Lee and Dralistico on the AAA show from Acapulco on December 28th, and unfortunately did lose the championships, which again is a bit weird because Dragon Lee has announced WWE as well, but FTR's reign as AAA World Tag Team Champions comes to an end at 438 days. So hopefully they'll do well. I mean, whoever's gone for them at Wrestle Kingdom must be really, really smart. But we'll see what happens, because like I said, it is Wrestle Kingdom time. Well, I say that. It's not the main show yet. It's the press conference beforehand. Of course, the biggest news coming out of it was that Sabre Jr. has blonde hair. I think we're all shocked. Gina, I know you're a big Zack Sabre Jr. fan, and seeing with blonde hair, I mean, that was the biggest news from the press conference, wasn't it, you know?
I didn't care for it.
Oh, poor Zach. Poor Zach. No, the biggest news was, of
that
course...
was all.
Can we also just take a second to actually, Zack Sabre Jr. stole the blonde off of Yo. Okay, because Yo turned up with dark hair. I didn't even know that was Yo. Monty, I did not know that was Yo. He did not look like him, like with the brown hair. And him and Leo Rush obviously both had the blonde hair going. I was like, who the fuck is this? And it's Yo. I was like, no, we don't look right. Go back to blonde. I don't like this brunette, Yo. Go back to blonde, please.
Do you think they literally swapped? They went, hang on, what? We've got an idea. Like, Zach was just
It literally felt like it. It felt like Zach slash Yo and took the colour from him.
it felt like that for sure. Like, can we just go back?
I think Zach was going for Super Saiyan blonde.
Yes, maybe. You know, he wanted to do a Vegeta, you know, like. But I mean, I don't even mind Zack Sabre Jr. with the blonde hair, but Yo, go back to the blonde hair, please.
Well, that was the biggest news for us at the press conference, but apparently there were something else. Was Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. And this, what Will Ospreay has to say, I mean, I have watched this, I don't know, 7 or 8 times now. I'm trying to write it down as my promo of the year, because what Will had to say, it's just fucking brilliant. So I'm going to try to do, so first up, you just see him first and foremost. We've all done it. A table arguing with a family member when that member doesn't shut the fuck up, and You just can't stop yourself, and you get up and you get in their face straight away, and
you just lose your shit.
Yeah, it's like you've lost all control, and you've got the shakes, and everybody's watching, and you don't care, and it's just you and that person. And Will said, "No, fucking listen to me, Don Callis. First of all, you little cunt, shut your fucking mouth." Listen, you have no fucking idea the mental state.
What's he Don's face? Seriously, he was like so.
It was like Don just got bitch slapped.
It was. He said I was going to go for 15.5-hour flight because there's a fucking war going on in Russia and Ukraine. After that, was carted around the fucking airport for 4 hours to prove I had negative for COVID. And I had a fucking doctor's note saying that I didn't have it. I had to stay 14 fucking days in a hotel with no bigger broom cupboard. It's talking about having to watch his best friend's funeral on a fucking tablet as well. You sit there. You fucking sit there and belittle me, you little cunt. How fucking dare you? You've no the slightest idea what I've gone through. Again, this was just... I mean, Monty, this doesn't happen every time. Press conference. This was just excellent. This was like the opposite. Entertaining, the same, but the opposite of like CM Punk's all-out press conference. You know what I mean? Like, the media scrum.
Yeah. But just as real, though. Real.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing about it. I think that's what you felt. That's what everybody felt from that clip, was just how authentic. And you're right, it's not always that heated. It's definitely not always to that point. But the press conferences are always a great insight into the story that they're going to try to tell at Wrestle Kingdom. And I love this segment because it ties into what we got the next night perfectly. And you're right, Will was great, but what the asshole, the amount of assholery that Kenny was before that in Japanese making the Japanese person speak English to Ospreay, you know, again, saying that these are his people, even though Will has been the one who stayed by these people and was here during the roughest
so
part
disrespectful
ever. But Kenny was like, no, these are my people. I just come. Basically, he walks right in, and everything is still the same. This is still his world. And you know, Ospreay, like you said, he was seething at that, and you can see it. And the emotion was great, but it was real as hell. And I also noticed this in Omega's comments after the match, which I'll get into later, that he kind of can call back into something that this got to him to the point to where he brought it up after the match too. What Ospreay did before this match, so it just shows you how much emotion and just how real that actually was, and it was just great stuff, man. Like you said, there's nothing like it. That's the beauty of it. That's what I love about New Japan's press conferences, or anytime you get a chance to actually get them to speak, because it's just so much realer than any other promotion when you get them to speak. Like even AEW, I know AEW is mostly unscripted, but I don't even, to some extent, they're still trying to entertain. In New Japan, that goes out of the window when they want to tell a story.
Well, this is the thing. First of all, like you said, credit for Kenny Omega speaking Japanese. Like, fair play to that. But like you talk about, it's me watching it, all of us, and going, look, we all know wrestling's predetermined, but those two really fucking don't like each other. You saw Don Callis fucking run like this. If it's all worked, then fair fucking play. Whoever's wrote the script for that then needs to start doing like major motion movies and stuff. Will losing his shit, a lot of reasons, but the mic issues and Kenny corrected him, but then having problems with the mics after. That didn't make me laugh. But like I said, Jackson, it's unlike anything we've seen. I say we as a collective now, but like
for real.
Monty talks about, you know, with AEW, WWE, this was saying even before, and it added to, I can't wait. You know, we were like, I can't wait to see the match, and now it's like, I can't fucking wait.
Exactly. It was one of those things that even for me, this went up on my Instagram stories. Like, I was legit just so, like, you know, I was completely 100% invested. And, you know, I just like you, I watched the promo about 7 or 8 times because I could just feel the complete passion coming out of Will. And I was just like so anticipating, imagining how this match is going to go. and we'll get into the match soon and discuss in further depth. But I mean, I need a match too between these two. Do you know what I mean?
Like I said, it was just Gina. It was excellent, wasn't it? We talk about all the build from New Japan this past couple of months, and then that was just cherry on top on the eve of Wrestle Kingdom.
For sure, definitely was all that everybody talked about the rest of that evening, and it just made the anticipation for the show even more special, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think we've had enough anticipation, so we're going to get onto it right now. We're going to start with the pre-show, and it worked. I guess they do it. Monty, you might know more than me, but I think they edit the English one when they do the replay of the show, so to speak, because it was about 5.5 hours it came up, but the commentary did say we're about an hour and 40 away from pre-show, so they're cutting the gaps between it. Do you know, Monty? Have I put you on the spot there? Please help.
In this particular case, you did, because usually it is something like that. But in this case, for Wrestle Kingdom, I want to say that they were. I want to say they were there because they were at. They were there for New Year's Dash also. So I want to believe that they were there live, but I'm not sure if they're doing an edit thing or anything like that.
No, okay. Like I said, the show once it started for a 5.5 show did go to brisk pace. So I don't know. Like I said,
that initial hour for the kickoff is always one like things. I don't know why it was like that, but it was a delay live. So you were much. If you didn't watch it live, you actually avoided an entire wasteful hour if you tried to wake up on time.
Right.
Luckily for me, I was late anyway.
That's not an issue. Well, we can start with a pre-show because we had Boltin Oleg versus Ryu Oiwa. And this was a time limit draw, 3-minute time limit. Oleg opened his debut with heavy grappling, taking a quick lead. Oiwa somehow held his own, especially towards the 3 minutes. Oleg gave me Nikita Koloff vibes. I'm showing my age there.
Definitely.
Gina, were you like me thinking, what the fuck is this?
I was so confused. I was heavily confused watching that.
Yeah, I didn't know either. No, seriously, I did look it up, and Kazakhstan.
It was a confusing opening match. I didn't really get the end, how things ended. I really don't.
All I know is that he's Kazakhstanian. He's 29, competed in the 2022 Wrestling World Championships, finishing 5th. But he did win the Senior Asian Championship in 2021. We know how big that is. Monty, what was this? Was this just filling?
It was an exhibition. It was a 3-minute exhibition for the debuting Boltin Oleg, who you just ran off a lot of great statistics about. So you see why he's getting a debut on the Wrestle Kingdom, stage. It's kind of like what they did with Shibata, except Shibata's was 10 minutes.
They only get 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was only a 3-minute exhibition. It was just basically showing what Oleg has been working on. It wasn't really meant to be like a serious match. They started to get
well, that
serious
makes
as
sense
the time
then,
went on,
because
but it was just a graphic.
Yeah,
display,
I
really,
literally didn't know who won.
Yeah, no one. Neither one.
No one wins.
I was confused why no one would. So I didn't realize that was the kind of match it was set up to be. So when there was just a draw, I was like, why?
Yeah,
why? Because I just didn't understand the concept.
Do they do debuts? Do they do debuts like that often? Just hold 3-minute
well,
matches?
First of all, it's very rare to get a debut like that at Wrestle Kingdom for a young lion. So for him to be in that spot, yeah, it was really cool for him, for both of them guys to be leading off the show. Usually young lions are on the show, but it's usually in the Battle Royal, and they probably don't do much in those for the most part. But for them to get a singles display at Wrestle Kingdom, like you said, it was just an exhibition. The young lions actually, when they're fighting each other, even every now and then, for the most part, one young lion goes over on the other. But it's been many years. Like, for example, Yo and Sho end up being tag team partners down the line. But when they were both young lions, they used to draw each other all the time. Like, they would just fight. It wouldn't be 3 minutes, but it would be 15-minute draws and stuff like that. So sometimes that happens with
Interesting.
young lions where they just neither one is better than the other, and they just kind of fight it out. So yeah, a draw is not the letdown in Japan
That's
that
cool.
it is in America.
Yeah, but the equivalent in America or whatever it would be like the 2-minute squash match, I guess. Like 3 moves and then, squash the guy and move on with this. It's more
but this
kind
is
of...
purely an exhibition. Like
it's
just grapple,
showing,
get into your stuff, and yeah.
Well,
most of the time it's like a sign that they're trying to figure out how to put the rest of the match together for the young lion.
Monty, I will say we are glad you're here, without a shadow of a doubt, because like I said, the Rambo coming up as well was me just going, huh?
No, and I'm sorry, I forgot myself that this was the KOPW Battle Royal, which is different than the regular one that they used to do.
Oh
so
my gosh,
in the KOPW, you have 4 winners.
I was so confused.
Yes, KOPW, you have 4 winners.
Excuse me. Right, so we're going to get onto that in a minute, yeah.
Okay, explain. Yeah, you'll have to explain
We'll
how that works.
So
I'm left so confused.
Yeah. So this 3-minute time draw, we're going to try and score it out of 5. So Gina, why don't you start us off? What do you think of this 3-minute time limit draw?
I mean, I didn't get it, so I kind of didn't see the point of the match.
Yeah, so we'll just score out of 5. Just whatever. Just to start us off for the year.
2.
2. There you go, 2. I'll give it 3. Fuck it. Jackson, what about you?
You know what? Because it was in an exhibition match, I'll give it a 3. Now that I understand after Monty's explanation, I'll give it a 3.
Monty, what about you?
Yeah, I wasn't. You don't really rate exhibitions.
No, I know, but we got.
So
to
yeah, 3
started.
definitely is where you give it, and the thing is, or you can go like 2. It doesn't really matter, but the thing I like I said, you can see why Oleg is. You can see a little bit, like you said, the comparison you mentioned. Even though you sound old, it's a good comparison. He is like Nikita Koloff. Yeah. So yeah, you can see why he's debuting here. But I saw the potential. But yeah, 3 stars. Can't give it much more than that.
Yeah, well, we did predictions as well. So I will say yes, it is back. We begin the 2023 prediction leagues, and of course,
no one gets anything.
Well, yes, Monty, Gina, and I went for Oleg. Jaxie went, no points. So that's it. Right, so the next match, the rules for the next match, wrestlers can be eliminated by pinfall, submission, DQ, and throws over the top rope. What I didn't know, or anyone who know, was who was in it, how many people, and time in the intervals. I mean, I guess we don't need to know everything. Yeah. And the other thing is that 4 would actually win and then go for the 4-way dash. So this is just so weird. But we're going to get into it. And like I said, Monty can explain. The first 2 wrestlers were Sho and Hikuleo. We saw Tomohiro Ishii enter the match. Great Khan, Dookie, and Rucker Romero entered. Romero scored the first elimination, sending Evil to the floor. Kenta, Kanemaru, Hanare, and Taguchi all entered the ring for the United Empire pair, eliminated Ishii. Jeff Cobb entered, and Hikuleo eliminated Dookie and Kanemaru. Shane Hayes and Mikey Nicholas of the Mighty Don't Know entered around the same time, leading them to eliminate Romero and Taguchi. Yujiro Takahashi entered the match. The United Empire eliminated Hikuleo. The Mighty Don't Know responded by eliminating Cobb as Toriano made his way to the ring. To follow up, the remaining United Empire members eliminated the Mighty Don't Kneel. Then El Fantasma joined the match, bolstering the Bullet Club numbers. ELP eliminated Hanare with the dreaded nipple twist. Now, I don't think, like I said, I watch Japan. If people are watching Japan for hardcore wrestling or whatever it is, then the nipple twist as well is one of my favourites. I want to see that in the Rumble coming up. And then Shingo Takagi came out, who was the last entrance. And
Liar, by the way.
Yeah, because he said he wasn't going to be in it, didn't he?
Said he didn't want anything to do with it. That's what he said. Liar.
Why? And then the 4 remaining Bullet Club members eliminated Tachi, leaving Shingo free to eliminate Yuro and Kenta. Sho accidentally eliminated ELP to mark the match end, leaving himself, Great Khan, Toriano, and Shingo in the inaugural KOPW 2023 match tomorrow. I mean, don't get me wrong, great way to get talent on the show, but Jaxie, like we say, fuck me. Did you just think, what's happened? Why have they stopped?
Oh, yeah, like it was way confusing, first of all, because I didn't actually know the stipulations. I kind of thought it was like a Royal Rumble thing, where you get thrown over the top rope to get eliminated. So then you start seeing like pinfalls and submissions going through, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? And then they just stopped dead. 4 people still in the ring. And I went, am I missing something? What just happened? Because they just stopped. So... yeah, I definitely need to like make sure that I'm, when looking at these matches and making the predictions, like trying to actually look at the stipulations, because again, I was really confused on this one as well on who to even put as my choice, because I had no idea who was in it.
Well, I would say, and again, I don't want to blame anybody, but I think if it's down to anybody here to tell us, maybe
there's a resident expert.
There is, isn't there?
There's an expert here. There is, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But, I mean...
pretty sure he kept quiet.
Monty, did you...
I mean, I didn't know.
Did Gina tell you as well?
I didn't know. What are you talking about? They didn't tell... I didn't know who the hell was in it either. Why do you think I only put Shingo down? I was like, well, I know he'll be in the end. That's about it.
That there was 4 potential winners. I
figured y'all know.
4 people.
That's because I didn't know. I didn't know. I did not know that the Battle Royal was KO. I forgot that fast that the KOPW Battle Royal is different than the normal one. Like I said, in years, there's always a Battle Royal on Wrestle Kingdom. But the KOPW Battle Royal just kind of started a few years ago. And that's because of Okada, by the way. Your man is the reason for this whole thing. He never even wanted it. He suggested the idea when Naito joined the belts because he was jealous because he didn't have a belt anymore. And then never even won the thing. Didn't care about it. Let Yano run around with it for 2 years. But anyway, Shingo raised the name of it. And like he said, Shingo didn't want anything to do with this unless they gave him a belt. He was like, make me a belt. He asked for a belt for years, for most of last year while he was walking around with that broken trophy that ELP just kept messing up again and again. So I guess since he saw they gave him a nice, they're going to make a belt for him, I guess he decided, I'm going to get in the ring. I'm going to get in the Battle Royal. But yes, that's how it works. You set up a fatal 4-way for, again, the next show, New Year's Dash, and that's where they were crowned the KOPW champion. And, Shingo, spoiler alert, he won that.
But they made the actual belt up for it, did they?
Yeah, the Velcro.
Yes, they have a belt for it. Yes. Okan took it, as a matter of fact, as if it was his already, and it wasn't. So you could have been confused there and thought Okan was the champion, but he wasn't. He wasn't the champ.
Great Okan did love his Rev Pro title, though. To be fair, well, tonight anyway, he's treated it like shit in the past couple of events.
He just threw it on the ground. Just watch him throw it like it was
Great Okan is so random.
It's just great. And another thing as well, Aussie commentator, I think he's Aussie, Gino on commentary.
Yeah, Gino Gambino.
The Doki Pokey stick. Isn't that?
Yes. That and the Doki Choki. His favorite combination. When Doki puts his legs up and choke people. I love the Doki Choki. Yes, Gino loves Doki. I don't understand the obsession, but he loves him.
Yeah, about that. Well, I mean, like I said, we had Gino, Kevin Kelly, and Chris. I cannot remember his surname. Apologise, but
Charlton.
Charlton, there you go. Well done. I will speak about him as the show goes on. We saw ELP as well with a Kofi Kingston trick during this matchup, but I don't think it was too bad. Jackson, what would you score this out of 5 if you had to? Well, you do, so.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I'll give it like a 3 3/4. It was good to see sort of like who was joining, and kind of like a very Royal Rumble style, but with just a lot more at stake and involved in this match. So yeah, I'll give it 3.75.
Yeah, Gina, what about you?
Yeah, I'll give it a 3 3/4.
Monty?
Yeah, like you said, it was a great way to get a lot of people who I wasn't sure was going to make the card time and kind of get their shit in. So I gave it 3.5 stars. It was good.
Yeah, I give it 3.75 out of 5. Predictions. Well, me and Monty went for Shingo. Gina went for Greg Khan, and Jaxie went for Cobb. So it means points went to James, Monty, and Gina. I'm sorry, Jaxie, but again, you had 4 chances, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, it was one of those ones that I didn't know much about, and I think this is definitely good practice for next year. We will definitely all make sure we've got 4 different predictions going into the KOPW. So again, I'm not really fussed because I'm still new to New Japan, so I'm not really grasping it just yet, but I'll get there.
No, we're all in the same boat at this moment in time, and I just can't wait for next year's Wrestle Kingdom, where we do put 4 choices, and Monty doesn't tell us it's only one person that wins it. So that can be the 2024 Wrestle Kingdom review.
Definitely.
So at the moment, Jaxie's on 0, the rest is on 1, and then we had the Antonio Inoki Memorial match, Yuji Nagata, Satsui Kujiyama, Togi Makaba, fuck that, versus Tatsumi Fujinama, Tiger Mask, and Minoru Suzuki. This was a ton of fun. It was filled with like sloppy old man wrestling and special moments, I would say. Makaba won the match for his team after Tiger Mask failed something resembling like a roll up or something, and he just got sat on.
He tried.
Yeah. It was a bit of a funny way to end the match, to be fair.
They were doing well, though, weren't they? Until it was just like, oh, let's just go home, fuck it. You just nailed me. Come on.
Yeah, Jesus, take it.
Yeah. Fujinami cut a promo ended with Inoki's Ichi ni Sanda. Weirdly enough, Tatsumi's on 2K17 as well. So anybody that plays the old wrestling games might have done it. He invented the Dragon Sleeper.
69 years old.
69. Invented the Dragon Sleeper. Beat Flair to win the world title, which still doesn't happen in America as well. Monty, like I said, this was nice for me because, again, it's guys that I know they're fucking well old, but it's people that I know in a way. And
right.
It's
everyone
good to see him.
Everyone in this match is over 50. So, and even the great Kojima, who was literally just Noah's GHC heavyweight champion until like last September. So, like, Kojima is like, Kojima and Suzuki are probably by far the most active currently. And you can kind of tell with the way they still move around the ring that they still got a little bit, a lot more left in there than maybe people, maybe Fujinami, maybe even Tiger Mask or Makabe. But Tiger Mask is also, just competed in Super Junior Tag League. So, this was just an awesome time, an awesome showcase, like you said, not only in the memory of Inoki, but it was just great to see this collection of icons in New Japan all together for a match like this. And I think what I like the most is someone like me who's kind of used to seeing them do their thing, that I know a lot of fresh faces like you guys or just in general maybe got a chance to see some of these legends for the first time. And, should probably make you want to go back and look at some of them in the mid-2000s and late 90s, and you'll see some of them in their primes. And, like, even like you just mentioned, Fujinami and Flair back in the day. So, like, man, these are all 6 of these guys were great in their own right. And to see them doing this in memory of Inoki was awesome.
What's really funny is that my sister and I were watching this match and did actually say to each other, do you notice that it is pretty much a much older generation team up here? And just also praising at, them being able to still give it all they got and they still look that good. I mean, you've got to think about it. If you just kind of take a step back from wrestling and look at sort of everyday life and people at that age, you really wouldn't think they'd be able to move the way they do. And so for these wrestlers to still be keeping up and keeping in shape and being able to pull off a match like that, my sister and I just greatly appreciated the match alone, just for, what was being, the amount of history that was being made by these wrestlers.
And it seems the respect they've got for the legends as well. Like you said, in America with WWE or whatever it is, it might be a select couple of legends or whatever it is, whoever the flavour is. And it seems now they've actually, like I said, generational where they came from. And even the guys that you saw in the match we've seen in the past couple of years, either with Impact or Dynamite and stuff like that. So it's very clever how New Japan. That's the whole thing. Watching New Japan, realise how clever they are with the expansion, with the talent they use to go to certain places. And like I said, it was fun. Like I said, we're meeting a 5-star match here, but it was a lot of fun. Monty, what would you score that out of 5?
Yeah, like you said, wasn't a classic or anything, but it was still great to see him. Like I said, for the fact that a lot of new fans and a lot of people get a chance to see these legends do what they do best and show what they still are capable of. I gave it 3.25.
3.25. Gina, what would you score that?
I mean, I enjoyed it, so I gave it 3.5.
3.5. Jaxie, what about you?
Yeah, I scored it at 3.5 as well.
Yeah, I gave it that 3.5. Like I said, it was harmless. And again, on the kickoff or whatever you want to call it, the build up to the main show, this was excellent. And like I said, for new faces and old, everybody got something out of this match. Predictions: me and Jaxie went Team Suzuki. Monty and Gina got the Team Nagata. So Monty and Gina on 2, I'm on 1, Jaxie on 0. After the match, a short video announced Anthony Inoki movie in production, which should be good depending on the budget, I suppose. And the main show, did I mention cheering crowds are back, which would make a huge difference to this? My only issue, Monty, it's not really an issue, but as the wrestlers were making their entrance, it just seems there was huge space at either side of the stage. Is this just kind of how New Japan set up the arena? Because if the camera's on them as they're walking out, it looks like it's empty behind them, as opposed to being, as they're walking out behind the wrestler, it looks packed out. Is that just how New Japan do it?
Yeah, that's pretty much usually their consistent stage design for Wrestle Kingdom. Sometimes a little bit more, but yeah, they got so much space in their dome. Like the dome is huge, so yeah, it's usually it kind of gives off that vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Like I said, I know there's about 25,000 people there, and as we get onto it as well, they were great, but it just feels like I said, with that, maybe a couple of things. But we're going to start the main show, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship, Catch 22 versus Leo, and of course Leo winning Super Junior Tag League, and the match opened with Yo landing a dive to the floor. Rush followed this with a dive of his own. Catch 22 on the ramp allowed the champions to take control. Rush interrupted 22's control with his spear, revealing the Crimson Mask in the process. Even with blood streaming down his face, Rush landed dives to the floor to take out both champions. After a suplex from Yo, the match fell into chaos. Both teams landed finishes and scored near falls in quick succession. After the entire towards the end, TJP reversed direct drive into an inside cradle, pinning Yo and retaining their titles. This was a good way to start the show. Gina, what were your thoughts on this?
I mean, I was really disappointed. I was really enjoying Yo and Leo Rush together, so I was really hopeful that they were going to get this. But I think, like we mentioned earlier in the show, I wasn't exactly happy seeing Yo not with his blonde hair. I liked him with the blonde hair. So that already put me off. So I was already kind of negative going into this match. It was actually good. I really enjoyed it. They both teams had really good spots and they pushed each other to the limit. And I was really disappointed to not see Leo and Yo get that win. I was super disappointed. So yeah, I was a little bit annoyed.
Yeah, but there was some, like I said, there's some great saves, and this was quick from the off. Like, they didn't slow down, did they, once they started? Like, we got into it, we were like...
Nah, it was just like back and forth. There was kind of like no...
There was some great counters.
Chaos, for sure.
Yeah, there were some great counters from both teams at certain points that just worked so well. I think both teams worked so great together.
But like I said, it was a surprising result, and it's weird with TJP as well, because I followed him since winning the CWC. Obviously moved to Impact, and now Japan. There's no doubt he's a great worker, but maybe could have done longer with this matchup. I know it's the opening match and everything like this, but I was just settling down, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, it's kind of done. Very good way to start the show. Gina, what would you score that?
I heard like Leo Rush got a little injured as well after the match. Is that right? I think they said that he sported some sort of injury, not one that's going to leave him off long term, but I think he injured himself. Am I right, Monty?
Yeah, definitely. He thought it was like an orbital bone thing, but I don't know if it was as bad as he originally thought it was.
Of
But
course it won't.
definitely, the wound he got was pretty tough.
But
Yeah,
he
in the
retired
press
when he
conference
got
when
the
we watched it,
injury. Yeah.
yeah, oh my goodness, he was. Yeah, man, it was a mess.
But the match itself, like I said, was good. Gina, what did you score out of 5?
I gave it a 4 because I still enjoyed the match a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. Monty, what about you?
Yeah, like you guys mentioned, they came out with an awesome pace. It kept me guessing the entire way, and the crowd really got into it as it went on. You could just tell they didn't even really know we were all along for that ride. So I thought it was a great way to cap off a great tag league too. And I gave it 4.25. And I think Catch 22 might be the best Super Junior tag team in New Japan since the Young Bucks were in Super Junior. They are really that good together and that consistent. So shout out to TJP and Francisco Akira for being a hell of a team. This is really good to me.
Yeah, without doubt. Jaxie, what about you out of 5?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what all of you guys have said. And I gave it a 4.25 as well. I thought it was great pacing. I would have liked for it to have gone on a little longer. But and obviously, I wish it would have been a different outcome because of my prediction. But no doubt, TJP and Akira really did deserve to pick up that win. It was a great match.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. About 4 out of 5. Predictions, we all went Leo, so it means Monty and Gina still on 2. I'm still on 1. Jaxie's still yet to score. As we move on to the IWGP Women's Championship, Kari versus Tam Nakano for the first time ever at Wrestle Kingdom. The IWGP Women's title defended. The last time 2 women wrestled on the January Full Show was 1994. Again, thanks Chris on commentary. Kari had an absolute lush entrance with the kind of Grim Reapers as it was. The match itself opened with back and forth filled with grappling and impactful strikes. The action soon escalated as Tam established control, landing a violent screwdriver for a near fall. Kari bounced back quick, landing a spanning back fist to drop the challenger, climbing to the top and finishing with the elbow to win. This wasn't bad, but a bit disappointed, though, that they just gave it 5 minutes. Jaxie, first, we'll talk about the match first, because obviously shit went down after, but it's a bit disappointed it was only 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, that was my main point to bring up during this match, if I'm honest, because, again, for new fans of the product, this is not only, a history-making moment for Kairi and what was her opponent's name, sorry?
We'll just call it Tam, maybe.
Tam Nakano.
Tam, yeah.
Tam Nakano.
Tam Nakano, that's it. Yeah, so but for me, again, I don't know much about Tam Nakano. Of course, I know a lot more about Kairi, having had time in NXT and WWE, so it was easier for me to kind of know one of them going into this. So I got to say, this match, I put next to it that it was frustratingly good because it was good for what we got. But I was extremely disappointed at how long they got compared to some of the other matches on this card. I think they could have taken 5 minutes here or there off of a few different other matches and could have given the women a lot more time. I don't think that this did enough to really make us excited when from a new Japan pro wrestling fan, not giving us enough time to actually even look at the opponent as a potential competition for Kairi in that sense. So it was just extremely frustrating because I felt like they could have gone longer and it could have been a lot more impactful of a match.
Yeah, I mean, we'll say credit to Tam. She gave everything in those 5 minutes. Like I said,
both women did. They really had some great moments, and I think this is what leaves you more frustrated because you wanted more. I wanted to see more out of both of these women,
But maybe, like I said, it was only given 5 minutes because the women's segment as a whole had gone 15, because after the match,
The whole entire show was 5 hours with that.
Yeah, we want longer matches, Monty.
Everybody's matches was cut. Like everybody's match was cut. Like I promise you, one match got a long. There's only 2 matches got a long time.
Yeah,
Jay
2
White
matches.
Yeah,
2 matches
and Omega
went over.
And Ospreay.
2 matches went over half
true.
hour. 1 match went over 15. The other ones were
less
than 10. So
10,
and
9.
Again,
exactly.
It's like a WrestleMania. We're finding it with Wrestle Kingdom, with WrestleMania, with all this big build up and a 5-hour event, and yet you only get 10-minute matches. And you're just like, why doesn't it work out?
Yeah.
Right.
How does it work out like this?
But anyway, after.
But then they would have hated if it was a 7-hour show.
Oh yeah, right down. Yeah, we would have moaned. We would have moaned anyway.
Yeah, there definitely would have been complaint there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, the lights cut out,
and
all of a sudden, music hits, and Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, made her way to the ring in a robe adorned with a Japanese flag. Moné dropped Kari after a brief stare down, cut a promo, and declared herself the CEO of this women's division, and she then challenged Kari for Battle in the Valley in San Jose. I mean, with the rumours, we'd heard Rina. I told you about this rumour, and you heard it for the first time on this very podcast. Can you believe it's actually happened, and we've got Sasha Banks debuting in New Japan, eh?
I mean, yeah, I definitely, it's not that I'm shocked, but one thing that did annoy me is that I avoided social media as much as I can, and it still was ruined for me. So I was a bit annoyed and bittersweet when I saw her coming out, because I kind of already knew it had happened. Like, again, I had heard the rumors, so I wasn't shocked to see her turn up, but I still wanted to wait for that confirmation and watch it happen. And it was so innocent as well. One of my work colleagues found out recently that I am a wrestling fan, and she is a fan of the girl Sasha Banks. So she just sent me a news article confirming it in the morning. And I can't bring myself to be mad at her, but I'm like, why could this bitch just wait? Like, why? I just wanted that confirmation for myself. I swear I'm just going to be plagued by spoilers. So, yeah, finding this out felt a little bittersweet for me, but I'm super excited, super happy to see her there. She looks fire. So, I mean, she's definitely going to bring her A game here. We know it was like a dream of hers as well to be on New Japan, so I'm just happy for her.
I think Twitter had a brain aneurysm. Twitter exploded. Like, even I wasn't even on Twitter, and I still knew about it from Twitter. That's how crazy it kind of went. And we talk about Sasha Banks. I mean, Jaxie just has a talent in itself. When we talk about, and we've spoken on the pod about the women's division in Japan, Sasha Banks being a part of it is it's perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that because
it is.
But it is.
But I feel like this was inevitable. This was going to always happen. If anyone was ever a fan of Sasha Banks, in WWE, watched any of the sort of like documentaries she's been a part of, you know that a lot of Japanese culture has influenced her life, and she has expressed before wanting to work with New Japan and as such. And I think, with a lot of the news that came out last year with her sudden departure from WWE, just taking a step back, there was always that question of, well, if she is going to go to another promotion, which promotion would it be? So to see it be New Japan, rather than it be very kind of, I don't want to call it cliche, but it is becoming sort of like well known that if you're leaving WWE, you're going to Ring of Honor or AEW, So to see her sort of like make her debut first and foremost after a whole year being away in New Japan is exciting. Is exciting because right now in New Japan there's a lot of big stuff happening for New Japan women wrestlers in New Japan, and just to see Sasha become a part of it just opens up so many more possibilities. If we get a Forbidden Door 2 and Mercedes Moné has not yet debuted or shown up on AEW, could we see her kind of come through that way? You just never know. There's so much more excitement going into 2023 as to what could happen,
Yeah, And I think Monet's proved you don't need to go to AEW, like I said, to create headlines, because everybody knew.
Exactly.
Like I said, even Gina's good-natured friend knew the fact that Sasha Banks was in Japan. Now, like I said, when you think about it, I mean, even for me, like on a personal level, 3 months after starting the WNR podcast in 2015, watching Sasha Banks versus Bayley at TakeOver Brooklyn, and not knowing what I was seeing on a case of what women could actually do. And I always said Sasha Banks kind of wrestled like a man, and it wasn't in any kind of shot at her. It was the fact that the way she wrestled and how serious she took it, and seeing her now go from Mania main event to Wrestle Kingdom and just being a star. I mean, Monty, for you as well, not just as a Sasha Banks fan, not just as kind of what she brings to it, but everybody talking about Wrestle Kingdom and just this moment here as well. It's something that for a very, very long time. Depending, even if it's a success or not, we've had this moment now, haven't we?
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, you'll never forget where you were, or like how when you first consumed it happening, or like I'll never forget watching Wrestle Kingdom 17 and seeing, like you said, Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné debut. New music, looking great, and and basically calling out Kyrie in this situation, mentioning, even backstage afterwards, mentioning that she's still the conversation, she's still the standard. But now she's the CEO of Stardom and New Japan's women's division. So, like you said, to hear what everyone had to say about Wrestle Kingdom coming out, how many headlines it got on. I don't know if you want to wait until later on for this, but New Japan World was blowing up. It's for all the new users it was getting. So, like, whether you think it's just because of Omega, it could be, of course, Omega, you got Jay White, you got Okada, but it's also because a lot of people were anticipating seeing Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné here. So, to think about all of those, to all of that, all of the eyeballs that I know came on to Wrestle Kingdom probably made a lot of new fans just because they wanted to see this one moment. So, yeah, man, it was big time, man. The funny thing is, I heard a lot of people talking about, who wanted to say something like, "Oh, the Japanese fans, they didn't seem to even, know anything, or know that she was there and all that." Trust me, when not only would they shook hands, they definitely knew that Mercedes was there, but they also, in this situation, like, it was on the back page of the newspaper, the Tokyo Sports newspaper, that Sasha Banks, Mercedes, made her debut in New Japan. So, like, it's a big deal. They don't look at dirt sheets. They don't get on the internet like we do on Twitter and get your information off that. No, they look at the papers. They keep up with Tokyo Sports that way. So they consume media different in Japan. And trust me, they know just how much of a big deal this was for New Japan to have Mercedes Moné on their roster.
That's what makes me laugh, even with the argument about women's wrestling now, or Tony Khan and AEW said women don't sell, or they sell out pay-per-views. We'll give them a chance. Look what Banks is. She's not risked at all, because she can come back to WWE at any time. Like WWE think, oh, she gets that system and come back. But it's the building of her legacy. It's trying something completely different. She could have gone to AEW, signed a 3-year contract and all that kind of stuff, and wrestled on Dark. But she wants to do something. And that, where it will be ego or talent in itself, you have to give credit. And like you said, Monty, she said after as well, the press conference, about being a CEO of New Japan and Stardom, which will bring more eyes to Stardom now as well. Of course, if that becomes available. This is only my first stop because I'm on a world domination tour, she said. I know everybody's so jealous of Japan. You guys are lucky to have me first. The other question I want to have first, which I thought was interesting, but the other thing I thought was interesting as well, is the fact he announced a match for Battle in the Valley. Now, anybody that doesn't know, Battle in the Valley, again, my assumption is from last year, it's a mixture of strong talent with, kind of New Japan. But it sounds like this is going to be a proper pay-per-view in America for New Japan, which, again, is another huge step. And then they go, well, hang on a minute. We're going to have Kenny Omega, and we've got, like we said, Moné making her debut. Not only will it be sold out, but on Fight TV, people want to see that.
Yeah, it's pay-per-view.
Exactly. It's just gonna attract even more eyes to it that might not necessarily have watched New Japan content before. So I can only imagine the viewership that's going to be from this event.
Yeah, it's fucking aces. It really is. When it's good, it is really, really good. So we got to go out of 5. So first off, for the match in itself, obviously Kari versus Tam. Jaxie, what would you score the match out of 5?
Again, really frustrating because it didn't go long enough for me. But I think that both women did extremely well with what they actually were given. So I'm still going to give it a 4.5 for the match itself and not take into account the length.
Gina, what about you for the match?
I mean, I again haven't really commented on the length of the match. I was annoyed about that as well, but I still really enjoyed it. And I really liked the other girl. I know you said her name, but I've forgotten again.
Tam.
I really liked the other girl. Yeah, Tam. I really liked her. So, and again, for someone who doesn't watch Stardom or doesn't keep up to date with that, both of them have just made me want to tune in more to watch more of their journeys, So I gave it a 4.
Yeah, Monty, what about you with that one?
Yeah, I agree with you guys and the internet because they definitely were saying it live that they definitely wish they could have went on longer. But I was so grateful because you guys, you guys asked me for Forbidden Door, why is there no women talent? So you don't understand just the fact that this is here. They've gradually done this. Seriously, they used to they used to have Stardom matches in the Tokyo Dome and they wouldn't even televise it. Then a few years ago they had them as the pre-show. And now, as you can see, now they are the second match on the main card having a title match. So it's like to see that progression from me, who they've never really even associated before this. I was just over the moon with this, even if it was just a 5-minute, 6-minute sprint. But it was intense. Like you said, it got everyone into it. If you didn't know who Tam Nakano was, you definitely wanted to know. It was her relationship with Kairi is very, very cool. She looks up to Kairi. She when Kairi left for WWE, that's when she was making her debut. So it's like she was always chasing Kairi. So that's what this was. So after this match, she was in tears, really, really sad that she couldn't get over the hump for someone she looks up to like Kairi. So I thought this was a great teaser for just how great Stardom is. Many new faces around the world got a chance to see this. They know how good Kairi is, but Tam Nakano literally kind of just made her name or just became known to a lot of people out of this situation. So we only got a taste of how good that they can be. So I thought this was great, man. And it was just great for Stardom too. So I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, I gave it 3 3/4 out of 5. But Monty make an excellent point there. And people moaning that the move Mercedes hit as well didn't look great. Come off it. It's the first time. We talk about making history now as well.
Exactly.
Exactly. And they kind of, bitched a little bit about her entrance music as well. And it's like, guys, you haven't got to say if she wants that music, leave her to choose that music. People are way too picky and expectant sometimes.
Had to complain. Yeah, you just had to complain. Everyone else was just happy to see her back. So some people just had to complain.
Yeah, exactly.
It can't be social media without it, I guess.
Well,
but also, by the way, please do give me something like Shida versus Kairi at Forbidden Door 2, please. Or even like Jamie Hayter versus Kairi. I do that.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree on is that this is the start of something very special, and you can take that to the bank. I'm sorry, guys, I had to. Predictions, we all went Kari, so Monty and Gina on 3. I'm on 2. Jaxie gets her first point of the show, and for a show that is 5.5 hours long, it did, like you said, Monty, it did move along at a brisk pace. There was no, it was all straight on to the next one.
Yeah.
And up next, we had the IWGP.
I was even shocked by it.
No, it was surprising, though, for me. Tag Team Championships on the line. Bishamon, Goto, and Yoshihashi versus FTR, of course, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. We see FTR kissing the belts. Would it be goodbye? The match opened with a pace-setting strike exchange. Cass continued to increase the intensity with a dive to the floor, followed by an FTR superplex splash combination. Got to reverse a big rig attempt and drop Dak with the Yushigoroshi, setting him up for a rally. FTR stopped the comeback with a sudden big rig that forced Yoshihashi to break up the ping attempt. We see an awkward suplex to the floor, left Dax got her alone in the ring. Dax tried for multiple pile drivers but couldn't connect. Got survived long enough to land a headbutt and tag out to Yoshihashi, who had somewhat recovered. He attempted to turn things around, but was hit with a pair of pile drivers that forced Gotti to break up the pin. After surviving another close call, Bishamon began rallying. Clearing the ring of cash, Bishamon dropped Dax and secured the pin to win the IWGP Tag Team Championship. Yes, your new Tag Team Champions and the run of FTR. Again, this was interesting. Monty, I know you love Bishamon. What did you think of this one? Because I love the story of FTR dominating, but not actually being able to beat Bishamon, rather than the titles being online. They just couldn't again.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's awesome. Exactly. It's the awesome storytelling there. And I do love Bishamon. I love Haruka Goto. He's one of my favorites. I liked him individually from Yoshihashi alone, but then to see the progress, I keep talking about how great Yoshihashi has gotten. He's stepped his game up to another level, and him and Goto are great together. And they've been the best team in New Japan, like you mentioned, for 2 years now. And I thought them overcoming FTR, who was also as awesome as always in this match. They really hit all of their best hits, and the crowd reacted to pretty much any big tag team move FTR did. You know, when Dax started passing out those pile drivers and that false finish right there, man, I really was worried for Bishamon, but it was great. It was a great match, and again, to see them pin FTR, to see Yoshihashi be prominent in this win and be the one to pin FTR here again, it was great. It was a great moment for me to see them bring the belts back to Japan this way. After, like you said, not even really being the ones to lose the belt to FTR in the first place, even though they did, lose those belts. So, again, Bishamon tracking FTR down and getting the belts back, I thought it was a great story. I gave it 4.25 overall. I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, well, be it in the UK, Mexico, USA, FTR are incapable of a bad match. But like you said, it's seeing Bishamon and seeing how good, even Kevin Kelly pointed it out, they might get forgotten about on tag team lists, but when they go against FTR, you can see how good they are. Yoshi took a killer bump with Dash to the outside, and FTR took time thanking the fans as they walked back. I mean, if it marks the end of their legendary multi-promotional run, what an excellent way to go out. What do you think of the match, and what would your score be?
Yeah,
this match. Oh, sorry, I thought it was me.
Sorry,
go for it.
Who did you say?
Who did you call?
I don't mind. Who wants it? Well, I don't want to put anybody's spot.
Jax can go first.
Go on, Jax. Go on.
Sorry. I really enjoyed this match. It was a really hard one to sort of choose who was going to be the winner in terms of, FTR has had this great long run with not only the IWGP belts, but other belts. So you really didn't know whether or not they were going to continue on this lose streak that they have been on. But then from watching Yoshi and Goto throughout the G1, I've really kind of learned to see how good a tag team they really are. So it is no surprise that they came out the winners. I'm just gutted in terms of my prediction.
Well, just go. I don't know if you.
Oh, I gave that a 4.
Yeah, 4. And Gina, what about you? What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I gave it a 4 as well.
Yeah, like I said, good stuff all around. I gave it a 4.5. It's always nice to see a different tag team. Really fun. Predictions? Well, Gina is going toe-to-toe with the New Japan deity. Who would have thought that? Jaxie, let's hope the Rumble goes better for us. All right? we went FTR. So at the moment, Jackson's on 1.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm on 2. Gina and Monty are on 4. Gina, you get the nosebleed being so far ahead at the moment. Like, come on, it's not fair.
It actually makes sense, though. G-Site.
Yes, it does.
I mean, G-Site in motion for sure. But again, they were all just wild guesses, all of this. So I'm really just going to go with my gut instincts because it's clearly working for me.
Yeah. Well, what didn't help me in Jaxie is the fact Monty didn't tell us about the decade of fucking tag team title changes. Apparently, it's a thing that happens.
Yeah, Monty.
It has become a tradition.
What? I thought we were friends. I really, you know,
Come
every.
on, hey, you think they do tag league for nothing, guys?
My God, that's bad. That's bad. Well, we'll move on. I'll try and get over it. For the NJPW World TV Championship, we are going to get a very first champion, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ren Narita. And I'll tell you what, Zack Sabre Jr., Gina, I know you're not a huge fan, but he should be Prime Minister. Telling Rishi Sunak he's a dickhead and he should pay nurses.
Oh,
I mean,
so
come
awesome,
on.
right?
Come on.
That was funny. I will admit, I couldn't help myself. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, come on.
I love how he just really, like, you know, he's living in Japan, but he still wants to ensure that everyone knows his stance on British government and the policies that are in place. You know what? I would vote for Zack Sabre Jr. as Prime Minister.
He's always opinionated. You know, he's taught me stuff about British politics. I'm like lost. I go Google stuff because Zach mentioned it.
No, Monty, he probably will be able to teach you better than the Tories do. So listen to Zach.
Well, as for the match, it opened with a scramble on the mat. Zack Sabre Jr. unsurprisingly took control, but Narita was able to challenge him once standing. We see a pattern soon developing where Zack would take advantage, forcing Narita into over emotional rallies. We see Zack eventually won out in this back and forth, catching Narita in an armbar and winning his first singles championship in New Japan. Get in there, lad. After the match, TMDK came to the ring and offered Zack a spot. Fresh out Suzuki-gun, he accepted, joining Shane Haste and Michael Nicholas. Of course, he replaces Jonah in that group.
And can I just quickly cut in and interject here and ask Monty to update my sister and I on who these two people were and what this club is? Because of this, to me, was all very new. And I was like, I'm not sure if he's teamed with them before.
You can't
and
recognize Slapjack?
Who?
The four, they used to be in WWE. Shane Thorne in WWE back in the day.
Don't feel bad. No one remembers Retribution. That just proves it, by the way.
Oh, God.
That's Slapjack.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Shane Thorne is Slapjack.
I did
No
not know.
mask.
Okay.
I don't remember this.
Tell me,
I don't remember.
you know Mustafa Ali's group in
Old
WWE
Faction,
that just never worked well.
T-Bar.
They had like a T-Bar.
Oh.
Reckoning.
Yeah, the little white one with the mask, Slapjack. That's one of the guys that came
That's
out.
Shane. Yeah, that's Shane Hayes.
Oh. Okay.
But can you?
But they used to be. Yeah,
I
they
remember
used to be
now.
great.
They got history with Zach.
Yes, they have history with Zach from his early days in Japan towards the early part of this decade. They're good friends. They teamed together back then. So, yeah, they have history. And you can kind of see if, in their backstage comments, the banter, like they're obviously great friends. So, it actually made the most sense when you think about it when it comes to what was Zach's next move was faction-wise. And and James probably could even give you better insight into to Shane's and Mikey's NXT run when they were what's the number code? Because I never got the code right. TM something.
TM61 in NXT.
There we go. Yeah, great tag team.
They were
What's that
really,
supposed
really
to mean?
No, well, TMDK is the Mighty Don't Kneel. So
right.
I understood that. Obviously,
okay.
they couldn't take that into NXT, so they just became I don't know fucking why.
Whatever the numbers meant. Yeah.
And this tag
mighty
team,
numbers.
Yeah, they were like a proper tag team, for 10 years or so. A few injuries between
They're really
them.
good together.
Made like I said, Jonah was associated with them. Bronson Reed a few months ago as well. Also, oh come on, what is it? Bad Dude Tito?
Bad Dude Tito.
Yeah, so off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to talk, like I said, about the match, Zack versus Ren Narita, because we've seen a lot of Narita as well, be it on Impact or Dynamite. Gina, what do you think of the TV title matchup? And I know you're not a huge fan of Zack, but you got to credit him.
I mean, it really was a good match. I can I can't take that away from him. It was good. I mean, I kind of knew that I was going to take the loss here, especially when I did see sort of, the match play out. I was like, nah, Zach's got this for sure. But I still stick by my choice because I just wouldn't want to choose him. So I stood by my choice. I didn't care. It was a great match, though, and I completely understand him getting the win.
Yeah, but this is the thing, and again, it's not only just about Zach, who wins his first singles championship in New Japan. We've seen how important he's been. But again, we talked about the legends earlier, and it's how they build the kind of young lions as well. Because when you think about Ren being put into another Wrestle Kingdom match, he wrestled Shibata, I think, last year, with title, it's in title experience, You're not throwing anybody in the deep end, are you? You're giving them a base to work off where, as we talk about, Gina, in WWE, main event WrestleMania within 6 months. So I think Japan does help with this, and like I said, we get a match-up, and I don't think either lose from this either.
No, I definitely agree with you there. And again, I think like Zach is just I think he's going to have a really good year, to be honest, going forward. And that is not with no thanks to WWE yet again.
What would you score the match out of 5 anyway?
I don't want to rate it bad just because I don't like Zach. So I am actually going to give it a 4 because it was still a great match. And I was glued to the screen when watching it, so I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, I gave it a 4 as well. Jaxie, what about you?
I think, first of all, I think that the match itself was great. I think my sister's been a bit too harsh on Zack Sabre Jr. I've actually been a fan of Zack Sabre Jr. since he faced Bryan Danielson at Forbidden Door. I thought it was a great match between those two, and I felt like Zack Sabre Jr. has not Bryan Danielson, sorry, he faced Cesaro. And I'm really intrigued and still want to see him face Bryan Danielson. I think that he's got a lot to give, and I think putting this new championship on him is going to help him sort of show the world what he really can do. So, I mean, I'm intrigued and excited to see where this run with him is going to go. I also liked the look of the belt. I thought it looked great. So yeah, really interested to see what's going to happen with this. I gave it a 4 1/4.
Yeah, like I said.
Can I just explain? Yeah, my beef with Zach. I don't think he's a bad wrestler, but my beef with Zach is that he is rude. So that's it.
I mean, he's a heel though, so it's kind of his character. So
yeah, I know, but put your attitude, take your attitude somewhere else. Don't bring your attitude to me because you'll just get attitude back.
Okay,
that's my problem with him.
Well, Monty.
Don't come out here.
Monty, quickly, moving on. Monty, what are you going to score it?
Yeah.
I'll beef it.
Okay, so I gave the match 4 stars, like you guys said. But this match actually proved to me that Zach is the perfect choice for this title because it has a 15-minute time limit. He's already said he's going to make the belt the strong style belt. So that means whenever it's on social media or whatever they're going to post these matches throughout the year of him defending this title, it's going to always be fast-paced and very physical. And Zach is the perfect person to lead that charge with this belt here. And you just kind of see it here with the way this match went, with him getting that armbar out of nowhere, because they were just still actively grappling and passing submissions on. And just like in real grappling, he scored his armbar just when you needed him to. So it was just perfect. I love this format for Zach. He's definitely going to do a great job of setting the tone for what that belt means. And, and I also enjoyed that moment afterwards of him joining TMDK, because I've always thought that he would be a perfect leader or front man for a faction, because TMDK don't really do leaders. But I think they all know Zach is definitely the leader. But we'll see.
Definitely, especially being the only champ out of the team.
Yeah, but so it's I'll be excited to see, like you said, what Zach has planned for all of us this year, and it looks like he'll be fighting Ishii next for this, so that's gonna be a fun fight. They always have fun when they go at it.
But like you said though as well, the other thing I liked, it felt like a bit like an MMA match with within the arm.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Zach just taking advantage. And once it's over, it's over. Like I said, it could be 6 minutes long, it could be 10 minutes. If you leave it like that, you get a submission victory,
Right.
which I think is maybe missing from, like a Ronda Rousey at this moment in time. But
Right,
yeah, like
exactly.
we said,
That's a good point. She would benefit from wrestling like that.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Just do it. But just coming out and going, dickheads, you're all dickheads.
Like that actually works for her, you know?
Yeah, just snapping arm bars right out as soon as you start going for the arm bar.
Yeah.
Like, screw it.
Well, prediction-wise, the comeback's on because Jaxie and I
Here
went
you go.
for Zacky Boy, all right? And Monty and Gina went for Ren. How
Went for
would you go?
Ren.
How would you go, Narita? So it's Jaxie on
I was
2.
being loyal, but that's fine.
I'm on 3. We're catching up. Point behind Monty and Gina on 4.
Ooh, scary.
Then the Never Openweight Championship, Tama Tonga versus Carl Anderson. You correct me if I'm wrong, but is this Tama's first singles match or first singles match Wrestle Kingdom for a championship?
It's definitely his first singles match. Probably his first singles match at Wrestle Kingdom. That's probably a good point now that I think about it. But definitely both. I'm going to go with both, yeah.
Thanks.
Because he was, definitely a tag team specialist. Yeah. That's a great call.
Well, I know it's the first time a WWE contracted performer is wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom, so that is definitely all right. But before the match could even begin, Anderson dropped Tama with a leather belt and then slammed him against the barricade and dropped him with a burner driver on the ramp. Tama avoided the gun stun, saving the match from an early end. Even as Tama fought back to the ring, Anderson maintained control, landing a cutter from the top rope and several near falls. Tama reversed the finish attempt, landed a splash from the top rope, which he followed by another, but Anderson kicked out. Tama tried for a gun stun of his own. Anderson reversed. We get a sequence of gun stun attempts from both. Tama connected with a second rope gun stun, went for another one, fumbled it, but pinned Anderson anyway. Tama is the new Never Openweight champion once more. I thought this was fine. Tama, I think, like we talked about earlier, Jaxie, Tama deserves this moment after the years he's had. The finish may be a bit sloppy, but it wasn't a case of Anderson not trying because, as you see, they're quite close anyway.
I think it was just wrong timing, wasn't it? On that last hit before he made it. So, I'm not mad at it being fumbled. I still think that the outcome worked well. Personally, I would have just if I was Carl Anderson right there and then, I would have actually just said, get me back up and do a second one. Just do it again. Do you know what I mean? Like, solidify it again by just doing a second one. So if they could have gone back and done it again, I would have just, told them, oh, do it again. Just give him a second one just to make sure that he's definitely going to stay down. But that being said, the match itself up until that point was really great. So I'm not going to take anything away from either wrestler because I think they both worked well together. It was that last move really that just didn't connect. Is a bit unfortunate because that was meant to be the end. But overall, the match was great.
Yeah, like I said, it was fun, and we've been following this story for the majority of the year as well. So it's nice to have this kind of payoff and to get the kind of the job done as it was. What would you score out of 5? So I didn't catch it.
Oh, I am going to give it a 4. It would have been higher if that, final move connected. I think obviously it kind of let the end of the match down a bit, but I'm still going to give it a 4 because I think everything up until that point was great.
Yeah, without doubt. Gina, what about you?
Pretty much same views as Jaxie. I really enjoyed the match, and this was one that I was looking forward to because I know that these two wrestlers quite well out of all of the New Japan. So I was looking forward to it. That ending was really disappointing, and I even said to Jaxie, he should have just shouted to Carl, "Oh, I botched it, do it again, go again, or something," and then they just try it a second time. I think that would have made the ending of the match a little bit better than what it was, but I still enjoyed the match, so I also gave it a 4.
Monty, what about you?
Yeah, Anderson brought his A game. Seeing him in the Dome was a great callback because I've also got a chance to watch him. That's where I got to know Carl Anderson when he was the Machine Gun. So Japan, Carl Anderson is a different monster. I think you guys kind of saw that. And Tama, who, by the way, was a career bad guy. So to hear all those fans screaming for Tama, and just you could tell who the Dome wanted to win this match, I really thought that was a nice touch from someone like me who's watched Tama's progression to this point. And his fighting spirit.
Yeah, I think
was
the
on
commentators
display.
actually made a point. They pointed that out as well, didn't they, during the match? Just saying
Right.
it's so different to hear him getting these cheers.
Yes, the people were really behind him, and he showed his fighting spirit. Coming back on Anderson after starting off rough. So, I thought Anderson came in and did his job, and I thought Tama was finally able to cap off the redemption. I didn't really even care about the last gun stun because the springboard one was so cool to me.
Yeah,
so I actually kind of just wish he just pinned him after the springboard one, right? Just pin him after the Oz Cutter looking one instead of pinning doing it.
Yeah,
again,
he should have done that because that looked pretty cool.
But it was fine. So that happens. I don't really pay too close attention. I don't really mind it. So I like you said, 4 stars for me, and I can't wait for Tama to actually get a good reign out of this one. As this is now his second time as never open weight champion. So maybe 2023 will be Tama's first year. We get to see him defend a title for a while. So it'd be nice to see how that goes. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, I gave it 3.95 predictions. We all went Tama. So Jaxie's on 3, I'm on 4, Nina on 5. And then we get Keiji Muti's last New Japan match. Keiji Muti, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Shota Umino versus Tetsuya Naito, Sanada, and Bushi. Naito tune, I will say, it's an absolute banger. I don't know if it actually is Lost Singles.
There you go.
But fuck me, I'm getting to it now. And the mask
no, it's Naito
coming out.
You're right.
It is. I like it. It's growing on me a lot, yeah. Like I said, the entrances are very, very good. And we see Muto open his last New Japan match against Sanada, who we see a series of drop kicks and landing a moonsault for a moonsault in the match opening sequence. Muto bounced back with Shining Wizard for teasing one himself, and of course he's had to retire that move a long time ago. I mean, this guy.
Yeah.
If we talk about the history of Muta, whatever you want to call it, to be a guy that kind of invented the moonsault or how as we know it to this day, and to not be able to kind of hit it. But again, you can see the fear in everybody's eyes, especially
Passed
Tanahashi.
it down to Sonata, by the way.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Seriously, there was fear in my eyes too. I didn't even know this wrestler that well, but I was like, please don't tell me he's about to do this.
No. Muta was not doing it. He was like, no way.
Tanahashi talked him down. Yeah. She was there.
He said family and his doctor's faces flashed through his head.
Well,
so, yeah. He was not doing it.
No, he tagged out, though. The match continued, of course, in a normal fashion. Shota was allowed to get in quite a bit of offense after clearing the ring everyone but Bushi. Shota and Tanahashi set up one last Shining Wizard for Muta, and Shoto then closed the match with Death Rider, scoring a deciding fall in Muta's final New Japan match. And again, big deal, Monty. I guess that Shota himself got the pinfall. That's what the commentary was building up. And I can't do Chris justice on commentary for the great facts, but one of the facts was Muta has had over 1,500 matches just at the Tokyo Dome, and the crowd pop big for this as well.
Yes, like you said, the great respect that they show their legends, man. There's nothing like it in Japan, and that's exactly what this was. To see Keiji Muto here, not in his Demon Spawn Great Muta gear, just being himself, good old Keiji Muto, the one who set the standard in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And like you said, Shota being there just shows you New Japan views him as the ace of the future. Like I said, that team was the ace of the now with Tanahashi, and you have one of the greatest aces of this company's history in Keiji Muto, and you have him teaming with Shota. And that just shows you right there that they view Shota as the next generation, someone who's going to hold the flag of New Japan going forward. And that's what that finish
going somewhere.
Right. That's what that finish and all of that was all about. Shota's up next, guys.
It's like passing the torch, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, like a passing of the torch sort of thing.
And Tanahashi's not going to pass it yet until he fights Shota, but yeah, it's kind of like we noticed that you're definitely up here, but you're gonna have to beat us because that's how they are. Like Tana's gonna have to. You got to rip the ace off of his head.
But
Okada
Yeah, you are.
couldn't even do that.
But
Take the ace from
Tanahashi,
him.
Monty, if I'm right as well, this is his first non-singles match.
Yes. So this again, like you said, showing you where we're headed. This decade now going into 2023, Tanahashi not in a prominent one-on-one match for the first time and like ever.
Really
So like
showing that like there's just upcoming new rising young stars.
yes,
coming, you know.
exactly. They're gonna probably lean on Tanahashi a little bit less, even though I know how Tanahashi is. He doesn't want that. He still views himself as the guy. So that's the beauty of this whole thing.
He doesn't see that yet, but I do see him sort of making a slow transition, very slow transition towards commentary. You know, I think Tanahashi will still be involved, even after he does.
He'll be like Nagata and them. He'll be like Yuji Nagata trains all the young lions, but he's still there when they need him. You know, so Tanahashi probably will never. I don't know. It'd be funny to see when he decides to finally hang it up. We'll see, but yeah, he doesn't view himself in that way at all. But like you said, Shota finishing this match and being given the ring. Now, I want to say, Muto, you never got to worry about him staying in the ring.
He didn't hang about, did he?
Yeah, he does not. No, he doesn't get paid by the hour. He gets the hell out of there. I love that about Muto. It doesn't matter if it's Muto or Muto. Once he's done with his work, he gets out of Dodge. So he gave Shota the ring. So I thought that was a great show of respect and just shows you that Shota's going to be probably in a prominent one-on-one match in the next Wrestle Kingdom.
Right, good stuff all round. Out of 5, Monty, what would you score that?
Like you said, for the moments alone, I wasn't really expecting a crazy match. I just knew that, like you said, having Muto teasing he was going to do a moonsault, and Bushi paying his respects to Muto, Sonata getting a chance to get in there with a guy who basically, Bushi and Sonata wouldn't be wrestling if it wasn't for Muto. So it means a lot. And Naito only started watching New Japan because of Keiji Muto. So again, this was just personal. It was a lot of great personal stuff here. But the match itself only get 3.5 stars, even though I always remember this Muto's last match in New Japan.
Yeah. Gina, what about you?
Yeah, I gave it a 3.5 as well for the same reasons like Monty.
Yeah, Jaxie?
I gave this a 3.25. It was a good match.
Yeah, I gave it a 4. I guess I really got into this. Again, it is all a matter of opinion. Prediction-wise, Jaxie, Monty went for Muta's team. Gina and I went Sonata. So it means that Jaxie and James are tied on 4.
Finally got the lead.
On 5, Monty takes the lead on 6 with 3 matches to go. Our next match is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Hiromu Takahashi versus El Desperado versus Master Wato versus the champion Taiji Ishimori. The match started fast, leading to a sequence of pin attempts, but as the match continued, there was a lot of waiting outside of the ring as well. There was a triple count-out spot. There was a double submission spot that left Hiromu and Wato alone in the ring. Wato tried for a dive, but it was stopped. Instead, it was Hiromu who landed a dive to take out the other 3. Desperado hit Hiromu with the pincher loca and tried for a second, but Hiromu reversed into a time bomb for a near fall. Wato scored a pair of near falls with the pin attempt. I'm not even going to try that word, but he did hit a couple of pin attempts. One of them was broken up. One of them, he actually let the guy up, which again, I'm not...
Let him up.
He let him up. Don't let him up, come on.
No, he definitely let him up.
Yeah, Hiromu survived a German suplex from Wato, who actually, again, talk about the story of the match. Wato was the one that we was like, hit the pin, you'll get it. You know what I mean? Like, Ishimori's fucked. You can beat him before. But no, it was Hiromu who survived a German suplex, catching Wato with the time bomb to win the match, and your new IWGP heavyweight champion, of course. But again...
Tell him.
it's Hiromu Takahashi, but the thing I liked about it, and again it's silly, but they mentioned the tag match between all 4 competitors we actually watched, and I was like, yay! It actually reason for me watching it when they reference it and they kind of talk about it in this one. I thought this was fun. Gina, what do you think? Because, again, the junior heavyweights introduce them as much, but I think all four put on quite a good effort.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially because this has been such a long show. It's hard to, even though the crowd isn't like a typical WWE crowd where they do just, die down, the crowd is quite chill anyway. So, but to keep the hype that they did in this match, knowing that there's still like two great matches to be coming following this and the matches that they followed on from, I thought it was a really great match and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And the champ, again, telling another story, and Master Wato coming closest, but the champion losing the title never pinned as well. So he's got an excuse, a reason to fight back for it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that's like one of the best things about those types of matches is fatal four-way type matches. Like, it's always good in case you are going to change it. You protect the person who's losing the belt. Because you can always have somebody else be pinned for it. So I think those types of matches are good in that sense.
Mm. Yeah, they're already planting the seeds. Like Hiromu mentioned afterwards. Like, if he's not the true champion until he pins you more. So,
yeah, that's another thing they do quite well, I mean, not mention NXT, but even with the kind of Hayes with the Wesley thing of saying, you may want it in a multi-man match, but until, like I said, you beat me one-on-one in anything really. Gina, what would you score that match out of 5? Because, again, it's maybe in a difficult position because we know what's coming up, but they still delivered.
Yeah, they still delivered. So I gave it a 4 still because it was still a match worth going to see in itself. So, yeah, 4.
Yeah, Jaxie, what about you?
I really enjoyed this match. I thought it went sort of it felt very fast paced because of the amount of people that was involved in it and the type of moves, lows and near falls, everything like that. So you just really didn't know who was going to come out the overall winner. I gave it a 4.5. I really enjoyed it.
Monty, what about you?
Well, this was an incredible match, and it was a great look for Master Wato. This is someone who, out of everyone in this match, he had to prove himself to the rest because Despy is a former champ, Taji was the current champ, and Hiromu has done it 4 times already before winning this. So the fact that they made him look like $1 million in the Tokyo Dome to me, and those people really thought Master Wato had a chance. I just really love that they tried to elevate him with the way this match was kind of put it together, and it almost made me like, damn, I wanted Wato to win.
Yeah,
because the way how well he really was battling with.
I honestly thought he was going to at one point.
Yes, it really looked like it was going to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I was like, is he going to actually pull a big surprise here?
Right, exactly. And after everything Hiromu's been through with the series injuries, after this match, he mentioned calling out Dragon Lee for all the way, even though he signed the NXT. So he even said, Mr. Triple A, I don't know if you're watching. Then he said, of course you're not watching, but, let me know because a match with Dragon Lee is what could have almost ended Hiromu's career a few years back. So after a 2-year absence from the top of the junior division card, I thought it was awesome for Hiromu to win it back in this spot. And I thought everyone in this match looked great. So I gave it 4.5 stars also, Jack.
Yeah. I give it a 4.25. Like I said, really, really good stuff. Predictions, I went, what a fucking idiot I am. Everyone else went Takahashi, so it means that I am on 4 points. Jaxie, who didn't even get any points to begin with, and now overtaken me. Some fucking I don't know how that happened.
Yes. Yes.
Gina is on 6. Monty is in the lead with 7. 7-6-5-4 though. It looks nice. Commentary informed us there's a backstage fight. It was announced Pro Wrestling Noah's Conga faction confronted Los Ingos. That's what we're going to call them.
Yes.
Which will be interesting. And we'll move on now to the first of the double main events. The IWGP United States Championship. Kenny, by God, Omega versus the US champ Will Ospreay. And Kenny's, let's talk about it. Kenny's entrance. I mean, Jaxie, what do you think of Kenny coming out? I mean, he's a big-time player, but I know you a lot of people probably took a lot more than I did from it.
Yeah. I mean, in case you're new to listening to WNR podcast or just new to kind of us as a team on Twitter, you'll notice that if you go to my @JaxieScarlett Twitter page, my handle is One Winged Angel. That is sort of after one of the best villains of all time in a video game, Sephiroth, from the franchise of Final Fantasy VII. And Kenny Omega is a huge fan, and he pulled out all the stops with this one. He got the rights to play the original music played over in the original game of Final Fantasy VII during Sephiroth's big moment, big reveal of a big evil deed that he did. And he incorporated that very moment with Sephiroth, with the flames in the background, and then, perfectly just ended it with wearing Sephiroth's gear. It was just, to a gaming fan and to anyone who is a fan of that franchise, it was just perfectly executed. I had a tear in terms of just the level of dedication he put into everything. And I got absolute goosebumps hearing the One Winged Angel song. It was just perfect. It was a perfect moment.
Yeah. And again, this is another thing I liked, because for me, it's just like, oh, that's a pretty cool entrance. And then, like I said, there's so many different levels when it comes to this as well. And Monty, I don't think we mentioned it at the press conference either, about Kota Ibushi and kind of why Will and Kenny don't like each other as well due to that,
Yeah, because when Ibushi finally made it to the top of the mountain and won the biggest matches of his life and became the champion. His first, I want to say it was his first defense, but it definitely wasn't many. He battled Ospreay, and Ospreay not only took his championship, but it kind of kicked off the string of bad luck that Ibushi kind of had with his health and with a lot of other things. So Kenny was definitely blaming Will Ospreay for what happened to Kota Ibushi and why Kota Ibushi is like. So he felt the last time we seen Ibushi and when he got carried out of the ring, it was because of a hidden blade by Will Ospreay that left him basically to where they had to carry him out like a stretcher, not even just walk him out of the ring like usual. So it was a tough imagery, and I think anyone who remembered that and remember what Ospreay did to Kota Ibushi, it was a nice little added flair when Kenny Omega basically confirmed it with the way he finished this match. And not only that, another nice little thing. I was really worried when Kenny decided to come back that we were going to hear the AEW music. It was going to be Best Bout Machine and all that. But he didn't. Like you said, not only did he go with the one ring angel aesthetic, not only did he go with that, he went as the cleaner, which everyone knows that's what he made his name around the world in New Japan as, the cleaner, Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
So it just kind of put everyone in that zone to let everybody know, oh, this is real. This is New Japan Kenny Omega. This isn't AEW Kenny Omega.
And we've not even talked about the match yet. Like, you talk about how much goes into it.
Yeah.
The entrance.
It's crazy how deep this is.
Yeah, right. So let's sit back then.
I mean, we could go further, like even 20 minutes or so, and just still discussing this. So yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
So I'm gonna take a quick breath because I'm gonna get into it now. All right. So the match opened with an aggressive filling out process. Ospreay landed a dive to the floor, but Omega wasn't far behind, slamming Ospreay into the barricade to establish control for the first time. Omega using control to slow the pace, punishing Ospreay, and established himself as the match heel. Ospreay fought back into it with methodical offense of his own for attempting Ozcutter against the apron. Ospreay missed the cutter and crashed against the ring, with Kenny answering by pulling a table from under it and stomping it through Ospreay's back. And then, of course, is Kenny with him showing his head through the table. Ospreay's answer Omega's violence with a series of strikes and a suplex into the back of the table. That looked like a hurt. Ospreay followed this with a stunning dive, top rope, and a flying forearm for a near fall. Omega then landed a sick DDT from the top rope into an exposed turnbuckle that sent Ospreay crashing to the floor. In case that bump wasn't nearly bad enough. It also busted Ospreay wide open. Kenny followed this up by landing a dive to the floor before driving Ospreay's head through a table. I have watched wrestling for a very long time and can't remember one wrestler smashing another wrestler's head through a table. With the table be broken or not, this was brutal. But Kenny did get a swollen eye or black eye will just before, so I guess Kenny didn't feel too bad. Back in the ring, Omega landed a pile driver and assumed top mount to punish the champion further. Ospreay reversed a top rope dive, was too slow as Omega sent Ospreay crashing into the exposed top turnbuckle. Omega landed a vicious V-trigger into the exposed corner before landing an absolute insane suplex from the top. Omega hit a V-trigger in an attempt to close, but Ospreay still had the energy to kick out. Crazy beyond belief, Ospreay began to bounce back after reversing a V-trigger, landing a pair of hidden blades and a Super Oz cutter, but Kenny still kicked out. After escaping a one-winged angel attempt, Ospreay landed a Styles Clash and a picture-perfect hidden blade, but it still wasn't enough. The crowd grew louder and louder as Ospreay tried for a Stormbreaker, but got caught with a V-trigger. Ospreay set up Ospreay for another, who is now beaten down, and one last act of defiance saw Will Ospreay spit in Kenny's face.
Oh, I loved it.
A V-trigger, and Omega landed a one-wing angel to win during his return to New Japan and become your new IWGP United States Championship. I'm not just saying it because it's my delivery of that, but even reading that match back, I get goosebumps because it is still as fresh as my hair as anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you haven't seen it, you have to go see it for yourself because no words will give that match justice.
Literally, yeah. Like, if you're going off the assumption, you go, oh, that match wasn't that good. I heard James talk about it. Just go and watch it. You know how good a match is when it's half hour long and it just flies by. You think, fuck, this is a finish already, and you're just there watching it. This is the Kenny Omega I've heard about. This was the Kenny that melts and masturbate and has 10-star classic with Okada, you know? Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this? Because this is just something... I've heard rumours about special Wrestle Kingdom matches, and this was just it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean... This already has sort of like match of the year candidate sort of written all over it, and it is only the first fucking week of January. Do you know what I mean? This match went so goddamn hard. You have to give credit to both Kenny and Will Ospreay. That there were some moments in here that were pretty hard to watch, and you know, pointing out the head bashing into the table. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a wrestler use it that way before. So. You know, the creativity of this match was just...
in the table. Like there was a circle where Will Ospreay's head had gone through. Like the table was still a bit battered, but you can clearly see that image of just his head shape.
Yeah, exactly.
Japanese tables are not gimmicks either, by the way.
No, didn't look at it.
Yeah, they don't. They're not gimmicks. So yeah,
I actually can see that as well. Like, I just got a headache looking at it, you know? It was just such a great match for me. That, again, like I said, match of the year candidate already for me. This match just hit all the highs. I was completely shocked by the outcome. I did Will Ospreay to win this match, so pleasantly surprised. But I was not actually mad that Kenny won because... No. He's my one-winged angel. So, yeah, I'm actually excited at the possibility of seeing a second match between these two somewhere across 2023. Have no doubt that we're going to get another great banger from them. I gave this a 5.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, and we've talked about the heat going into this match with two guys that don't like each other, or what we assume that is it. And what happens is that you get either one or two things. You either get like a WrestleMania 20 moment where you get two guys who are just don't like each other, or don't want to work, and don't bother with like Lesnar and Goldberg when it's at its worst. When it's at its best, you get two guys who you can see with the state of Kenny's face, with the strikes that they were landing, not
Yeah.
holding anything back, and going out there and saying, I'm the best wrestler in the fucking world. I'm going to prove it to you.
Exactly.
And when you've got two guys doing that, you create magic like you get
Exactly.
at Wrestle Kingdom. I mean, it was just so. I mean, it's just, you know. The
I mean,
payoff.
if you really want to kind of, if you actually want to know how much of an outcome, an impact, the outcome of this match had, just go and look at Will Ospreay's Instagram page right now and look at his body immediately after that match. Like, you can't fake those type of injuries on the body. Both men just went so hard and it hit so well. There were so many emotions at stake, and it was great to see how much the crowd were into this match.
Like I said, it was incredible. I mean, Gina, what were your thoughts? I mean, I'll ask you a question as well. Do you think this is the best match that we've reviewed on the podcast, or, you know, since you've been here? Because we have done a lot of great stuff. Stands out at this moment in time.
I mean, we have for sure. There are still like quite a few top matches that I would say that we've reviewed, but as for like favorites, I would definitely say this is like one of the top two favorites to have reviewed. And like my sister said, it was such a great match, and whatever we say is not going to give this match justice. There were so many near falls that I think I had a heart attack every single time one almost hit. Like, I literally had no idea where this match was going to go. I also went with Will Ospreay because I felt like that promo he gave was kind of solidifying, right, he's got to win this. He's going rankle and everyone comes. Like, he's got to win this. So I was super shocked. And again, you want that from a match. You want a match where you literally don't know who is going to be the winner because both guys are just giving everything. So it was such a great match. Our reviews are never going to give it as much justice, so please watch it if you haven't. And I gave it a 5 as well.
Yeah, I mean, Monty, this is just like everything. Because even with WrestleManias and stuff like that, yeah, the spectre and the grandeur, but to actually have a match that is a classic matchup, it's just such a great feeling. And it must be so good, you know, that we're all here actually talking about it before you actually said a word. You know, like...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing is, when Kenny Omega left, or even before he was leaving, when he used to say little obscure things about Will when they touched at back then when Will was a babyface and Kenny was in Bullet Club, they always kind of set this kind of rivalry where it was like, yeah, they respect each other as an athlete, but Kenny is not giving up his spot. And I think he even got unhinged after this match in the comments saying that you were right, Ospreay. You're damn right. I'm not giving, like, I'm the best in the world, and I'm not giving up this fight. The only time that I'll ever take sympathy or have sympathy on you or care about anything you've been through is when you beat me and take this from me. And basically, so I just love that element of their story because it's always kind of been there. There's always been a rivalry between them underneath the surface, even if they're not involved with each other. So for us to finally get this match and for it to be a war, like you said, for it to be as brutal as it was perfection. One of the best matches I've ever seen. And I watched Okada and Omega the first time, and like I said, that was perfection to me then. And I can put this one right next to a lot of those Okada matches for Omega. And Ospreay, like we mentioned, his resume speaks for itself when it comes to how many. I tell you guys all the time, Ospreay can do no wrong almost. But like I said, this doesn't even scratch the surface. The attention to detail in this match, the storytelling when it comes to the finish. You mentioned at the end there about Ospreay accepting his fate. He accepted his fate because he knew he was nothing he could do, and Kenny had wrist control, and that means Kamigoye, which is Kota Ibushi's former old finisher. So that was a shot also. I'm gonna finish you with Kamigoye, then I'm gonna give you a one-wing angel to put you away.
Yeah.
And so Ospreay knew it was coming, so he was just kind of like, screw you, like I'm gonna be defiant to the end. I loved
that little, exactly. It's so Will Ospreay to do that little bit of defiance, being like, okay, yeah, I can accept that this is sort of you beating me, but you know what? I'm not going out like that, and still like I have to have some form of defiance.
Exactly, and so it really worked for revenge for Kota Ibushi, and it also Kenny winning was awesome to me because it sent the message that it guarantees they're gonna do this again, and that's all I wanted after that. I was just like, exactly. They have to do it again somewhere down, and it also had me excited because I know what Wrestle Kingdom means. Wrestle Kingdom wraps up the prior year. So that meant that going into next year, Ospreay was going to be on a mission to show everyone, like he mentioned, he gave an impassioned speech after this about all the sacrifices. He was really, really down after this match because he said he sacrificed everything for this moment and he couldn't win.
Yeah.
And he said he's going to do one more year of sacrificing. And if he can't sacrifice and win when he needs to, whether it's Okada, he didn't mention this, but I know he means whether it's Okada or Omega, if he doesn't win after sacrificing for another year, he will go sacrifice elsewhere, is what he said. So he put a lot of pressure on himself. So I'm really excited to see what happens going forward for both guys. Because, again, now you have Omega possibly taking this to America, defending on AEW, defending it against different people. He seemed to have Jeff Cobb next. I can't wait to see that. They're going to be great together wherever they do it, whether it's in the USA or Japan.
Exciting.
Because, Jeff Cobb taking it personal what just happened to his boy. So it makes sense. I love it. I just love it all.
Yeah,
this is perfect.
give that to me.
And like you guys mentioned, this is exactly the Kenny Omega that people were saying is, we're changing professional wrestling. This is why so many of us people who are not from Japan started to cross over. It's because of the great displays of athleticism from people like Ospreay and Omega in this spot. And this is a great example of why, this was awesome, man. Even the people who write off Ospreay and Omega, a lot of people say gymnastics and all that. You cannot look at this match and tell me that this was just gymnastics. This was storytelling. This was physical. Yeah, this was awesome, man. Yeah. Perfect. I gave it 5 stars.
Yeah, this is not anybody, blowing smoke or anything like that. Like I said, we review it straight up, and this was straight up banger. There's no doubt about it. They're probably even calling it a banger is giving it a disservice because, like you said, it's a classic up in there. And what differentiates the classic is what the match means, the build up to it, as we've seen, where the stakes and the championships on the line, the position where it is on the card, and what event it is, with Wrestle Kingdom being a bigger show of the year as well. And like I said, this is something we talk about for years to come. If you can't be in the main event, then this is the other best position because everybody is talking. You talk about a man for big match performances. Will Ospreay, 29, not even in his prime. Imagine what he could do the next decade. Kenny, to his credit, though, looked in great shape. And like I said, when we got these two guys, is Battle in the Valley too soon, Monty, to get our hopes up for Will versus Kenny?
Yeah, I think they're going to put this off. This is going to be a little dramatic. I think, maybe we'll get it at Forbidden Door 2. I'm holding out hope that Kenny can keep it that long. But they will fight again down the line, and who knows? It may cross over to America. It may, be next Wrestle Kingdom. Who knows how it turns out? But yes, it will happen again, but not that soon. It will be. They're gonna give you a little break.
That's fine. We all need a little break after that, I think. But 5 stars, I guess, for you, Monty, as well. This is like
yes,
6 stars. It's what can we go up to?
Yeah, 10.
Yeah,
whatever. Max it out.
Predictions: we all went for Will, so we're all a little bit upset because it stays Monty 7, Gina 6, Jaxie 5, James 4, and unfortunately, try following that. Well, we had to with our main event, which is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. It is Kazuchika Okada taking on Jay White. And the thing I liked about champion in white, Okada in black. And this is, Monty, correct me if I'm wrong, the 10th Wrestle Kingdom main event for Okada, I think they were saying.
No, you're on the money.
Yeah, fuck me. Yeah. Talk about the John Cena of New Japan.
Jesus Christ.
It's just one
he
guarantee.
looks so hot
Okada will be in the main event.
All right, so before we get on to the main event, Jackson, what do you think of Okada as he came out and his entrance? Was he in match shape?
He was definitely in match shape. I definitely think my neighbors heard Okada coming out because I just blasted him from the TV. I was so excited right from the get-go. I loved his money gear outfit. He just looked great. He just looked like a king of all kings.
Well, we're going to get on to the
match. He blended
then.
His gimmick with Inoki's too, by the way. So kind of got the money with the Inoki style gear. So that's why the color scheme and everything. So it's kind of like an old, but it was a modern version of Inoki.
That's cool. That's so cool.
So yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so much more to go. And this is another thing about wrestling. I'm going to get onto the match in a minute, but it's like little Easter eggs. little stuff people can pick up as they go along. That
Yeah.
might not everybody notice, but it's worthwhile. We see Jay White setting a pace with his textbook control. Okada began to gain some footing with a DDT, which he followed with a lot of signature offense. Okada dropkicked White to the floor to take the lead for the first time. We don't mention how good Okada's dropkick is as well. On the outside, Okada dropped Gato and White with a double DDT. Once back in the ropes, Okada landed a top rope dropkick and set up for the money clip, but White reversed for taking control after driving Okada in the corner. Okada fought back through chops from White, answered with heavy forearms and a drop kick to retake momentum. We see a tombstone clothesline let Okada lock in the money clip, but White escaped the hold. Okada tried for the Okada dive, but was locked by Gato instead. Okada hit a top rope senton to take out both men. We see a long control sequence from Okada, but White fighting back, retaining the lead in the match with sleeper suplex. Attempted a blade runner, but Okada reversed it into a German suplex. He landed a lariat, dropkick, and a landslide to reset the match. When Okada attempted Rainmaker proper, White reversed into the blade runner, and Okada kicked out. A pair of short arm lariats from White set up another blade runner, but this time Okada reversed into a Rainmaker. White kicked out. We get a couple of more segments as we get towards the end as Okada connects with a blade runner of his own, and he hit the Rainmaker to win the match. And your new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion is Kazuchika Okada! Monty, what did you think of this match?
I thought this main event was great, man. I saw, of course, I was watching this and following along online. So, of course, people were comparing it to Omega and Ospreay, and that's fine. I know that's human nature, but honestly, if you look at what this match was for the feud that they were in and everything that Jay White put Okada through, the history that they have, even Jay White kind of mentioned that after the match. When Jay White was a young lion, Okada was one of those guys who was always nice to him, to pay him a lot of money to help Okada out. So he took care of him, and then what Jay White repaid him with was how he's been treating Okada over the years, and cheating to beat him and all that other stuff. So he was really reflective after this, because if you saw this match, you saw Jay White pretty much gave it his all, did things I've never seen Jay White do in a match with Okada. Way more straight up than it usually is when he fights Okada. And he, like I said, even though Gato definitely was annoying, it wasn't any point where I necessarily thought they were doing too much of like cheap stuff. It was still very competitive. And and the problem with to me was the only thing I could ever take away from this match is that with everything at stake, with it being capping off the 50th year, with this show being dedicated to Inoki-san, it was really, really hard for me to see Jay White finishing this and ending up champion here. And that kind of went into how I looked at this match. But even though I knew Okada was probably going to win, Jay White still did a great job of making it seem like he had a chance to win. And, it just makes you look forward to Okada's next challenge. And, you saw after it, maybe Shingo. So, and I really was curious to see what Jay does next now, because after he lost the title once before, he kind of went into madness. So it's always interesting to see what happens next with Jay White, because he really can flip the switch. And and like I said, in his post-match comments, he had a lot of reflecting to do, and he seemed to be blaming a lot on Hikuleo, but that's just a teaser for what's next. But again, I thought this was all great. The finish was well executed, and the tribute to Inoki-san afterwards was beautiful. So I gave it 4.5 stars. I really still appreciated this match, even though I know that Ospreay and Omega probably was way better. But I really enjoyed this match nonetheless. It was a great way to cap things off. I didn't think they struggled to follow it, even though it's like, how do you follow something that, like you said, stuff that probably was the best wrestling a lot of us has ever seen. So it's like, it's crazy when you have to follow stuff like that.
It's sod's law, isn't it? Like you said, when you've
right?
got a match.
It really makes you can't help but compare, but I really love this match nonetheless.
If you had finishes, then, or start the show with Kenny, and then, but this is, like you said, with the story of Okada losing to Jay White, the way Jay has been, And I've seen him everywhere this past year, whether it be AEW, Impact, Strong, and he has been great. And the closing sequence I thought was fantastic as well. Spit flying out of Jay's match. Jay, we didn't mention it with Will Ospreay as well. Will Ospreay kind of trying to grab for the US title when Kenny held it. And we saw the same with Jay White not wanting to give away his title here. But Jaxie, I know you're happy, Jaxie. What do you think of your man Okada, and what did you think of this match? He is the champion again.
Yeah, I think that Monty had some really great points, and to kind of capitalize off of something that he had mentioned, like for someone who has been a regular watcher of New Japan, this match probably went hard, but you could see the outcome coming. For me, going into it, knowing as much as I'm a fan of Okada, also knowing some of the tactics of Jay White, having seen him throughout his run in the G1, this was all still new to me. So there was moments where I really believed that Jay White was going to retain, and it wouldn't have surprised me if he did retain because of the fact of the outcome in the previous match. So for me, it really was sort of a tight moment of thinking, have I gone with the wrong person at certain moments? I absolutely loved how different this match was to Will Ospreay's match with Kenny Omega, in terms of both Jay and Okada were using each other's moves on themselves to sort of like kind of counter one another. There was a different type of heat that sort of was coming from this match. And it was just like, it was a really, really great match for me. I do think that, of course, it is still hard after seeing a match like Kenny and Will to go off of that, but I still thoroughly enjoyed Okada versus Jay White. I really just felt a lot of the tension and really didn't know what the outcome really was going to be. So for me, I gave this a 4 3/4. I still really enjoyed it. The outcome as well at the end, just seeing the devastation in the realization hit Jay White and having to sort of give up the belt. All of that, just it was great to watch. You could just really see the emotions that were involved here, even if you didn't know the full history behind Jay White and Okada. So I can appreciate something like that, being a new fan of New Japan. I thought this match was great.
Yeah, like I said, Jay White's a piece of shit. So what happened afterwards when even he uses Okada to pull himself back up without hitting a low blow or anything else and letting him take that title shows, there is respect there. And like I said, one of the interesting things we've talked about, whether it be Will Ospreay, Shota Umino, or, Kairi Sane, Sasha Banks, Jay White is something to look for this next, where the next year goes, because he has been top of the mountain. He's just faced Okada at Wrestle Kingdom. It doesn't get any bigger than that. So what is next, Gina, what about you? What do you think
I'll
of
be
this?
eager to see Jay White turn up again in AEW, because I really enjoyed what he did with the time he did have it in AEW, watching him against the likes of Hangman Page and, Adam Cole. And even Okada was part of that match. Like, that was a really great match, in my opinion. I would love to see something like that again. I'd love to see Jay White facing different opponents in AEW, so hopefully we'll get that again at Forbidden Door too.
Yeah, without a doubt. Gina, what were your thoughts on the main event? Because I know it's difficult following, like I said, that classic matchup. But I thought these two men did deliver.
Yeah, they definitely both delivered, and I enjoyed the match. So it's another 5-star match for me as well. I was happy with the outcome because I did go with Okada, but I also just kind of was thinking, well, where does Jay go from here? And even though you mentioned, James, that when he lost the belt last time, he went mad. Obviously, I haven't seen that part because I've only just started to watch it. So I am intrigued and looking forward to seeing Jay after losing this belt and seeing how he goes on to be. So I gave it 5 stars.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll give it 4.5. Like I said, a really, really good main event, though. And afterwards, Shingo. I knew Monty was happy because Shingo came out and interrupted Okada's celebration to challenge him for the belt. He might not be successful, but at least Shingo is involved in something now as well. And Okada getting emotional with showing in promo, thanking the fans and the late Antonio Inoki. So that is it for Wrestle Kingdom. Final scores. Well, I finished. Look, if I've proven anything, it's the tortoise and the hare. All right, so you might get off to quick start, might get off to slow start, but you just don't know. 5 points for me. Jaxie 6, but when you consider the start you had to the show, fucking hell. Gina pipped to the post by Monty, I'm afraid. Gina on 7, Monty on 8. So Monty, you still keep your deity tag and get the first win of 2023. How are you feeling? Not only have we sat there and watched what you love more than anything else in New Japan and Wrestle Kingdom, but you beat us as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was the way it was meant to be. That's the way I feel about it. It was the way it was meant to be. If it went any other way, this would not be a happy ending for any of us. I think this is the way it was properly supposed to go. So, yeah, thank you guys for sitting through the long show just to lose.
Well,
watch this time next year when we actually all come back together, having like another year's experience on New Japan, and we kick your butt next time, Monty.
I remember this when you want to know what a stipulation is.
Yeah.
How many times can Monty screw us over throughout the year?
This is not over, though, because like I said, the next points on the line will be for the Royal Rumble with the WWE Prediction League starting and, of course, Rumble mini-games as well. But as for Wrestle Kingdom, well, match of the night for me, I don't know if I'm going to go all around and agree, because I think we put it all 5 stars. Gina, you put 5 stars for the and the US title, but would you say the US title would be match of the night?
Is that the Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega one? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I think we've all gone that. That's fair enough. So we'll start with MVP. So, Jaxie, start us off. Who was your MVP of the night?
I'm going to go with Kenny Omega. A lot of that has to do with his dedication to showing off his love for Sephiroth and everything Final Fantasy VII as well.
What about you, Monty? Who's your MVP?
Even in a losing effort, it's just hard for me not to give Will Ospreay all the love for his performance there. Like I said, even as someone who was usually a villain, has been a villain for a long time, you can hear the people in Japan, as he continued to get his ass whooped, want him to win more and more and more. And even at New Year's Dash the next night, still very, very happy to see Will Ospreay, which, by the way, I cannot believe he wrestled the next night.
Yeah.
Him or Kenny, for that matter. But there you go. So Ospreay's a machine, so he's my MVP.
Gina, who's your MVP of the night?
I'm going to agree with Monty and go with Will.
I'm going to go where the money is and put down as, like I said, the former Sasha Banks. I know she didn't wrestle, but like I said, Twitter had a meltdown, and it just proves that, there are stars out there, maybe male and female, believe it or not. Rating out of 10. Gina, start us off. What do you rate this out of 10?
I'm going to give it an 8 because there were so many good matches on there. And even though I've chosen like my MVP and my top match, I really just enjoyed seeing a lot of the people and a lot of the matches. I don't really think that there was one that I was like, oh, it was absolutely awful, apart from maybe that very first match, but I'm not including it. So, I'm actually going to give it 8 because I thought it was good.
Yeah, perfect. Jaxie, what about you? What would you score the event?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9. I really enjoyed every single match. It was just something fresh, something new for both myself and my sister. And I thoroughly enjoyed this experience. I think it's just made me fall in love with New Japan even more, and just made me even more determined to kind of carry on watching it and getting as much involved in New Japan as I can.
Yeah, and the thing is, and Monty, it's not blowing smoke up your ass, but the reason why we opened the Forbidden Door on the pod, even before Jackson and Gina got involved in it, was because of what you knew about New Japan. And now, after talking the event, I mean, this has been nearly a 3-hour show after watching 6 hours of wrestling. and we actually want to watch more New Japan. I think your work here is done, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
What were your thoughts on this?
I hope we made you proud, Monty.
Yeah, what would you
Yes,
rate
always
this event?
proud. Always proud.
And what's your thoughts on us enjoying
Yeah,
it?
9.25 would probably be my overall score. I want to say I've had more fun at some Wrestle Kingdoms, but not really. I can't honestly say that because watching it the night of and the way my heart was racing, especially at Omega and Ospreay's match, but just throughout the night, the way I just had fun watching every match, and again seeing a lot of my favorites out there on this occasion, and like you said, not only having you guys, but a lot of a wealth, like I said, over 92,000 new users or whatever they said were on New Japan World for this show. So I was just overall, I'm over the moon when it comes to how I feel about New Japan and how I feel about everyone being able to see New Japan and even you guys knowing more about it. Like you just mentioned, I'm already looking forward to next year or even the next New Japan show we decide to take a look at together, because again, it's going to be a big year for them this year, whether it's in America or it's in Japan or around the world, because I think they're going back to the UK also.
It's good. The next one we're probably going to be reviewing, it's got to be the one with Mercedes Monet's first match against Kyrie, right? I can't remember.
If that's the case, that'll be great. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean,
I won't be missing that. I'm
the
just
guy
saying.
In charge is a bit of a dick here, so we'll have to ask him.
Yeah, we gotta talk to the boss, right?
It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can bully him into it. I'm sure we can bully him into it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, run it by him, James, when you talk to him. Anyway, yeah, like I said, 9.25. This is a special night, and yes, I'm very, very appreciative that you guys not only jumped into this like I have, but enjoy every minute of it. And continue to hit me with your questions. Continue to be frustrated with me when I don't give you your answers good enough or fast enough or whatever. I love all of it because I love New Japan. So I'm glad you guys got a chance to see why.
Yeah, without shadow, like I said, it was a pleasure to watch. I'm going to give it 9.25 as well. Great way to start the year. And when you think now the WNR tradition of Christmas special year-end predictions at Wrestle Kingdom, and we've still got the Rumble to come at the end of this month. We've only just started the year. Great way to start, though. Like I said, 9.25. Finally, like we said, New Year dash results. I'm not going to run through all of them, but just the important ones. We see Hiroshi Tanahashi, Hikaru Tamatonga, and Master Wato defeating Bullet Club, Jay White, Ishimori, El Fantasma, and Kenta. After the match, we see Jay White losing his shit and hitting Hikaru with a chair and challenge him to a loser leaves Japan match. Now, Monty, I'm not going to be, again, just quickly with this. Loser leaves Japan match. But Hikaru could theoretically lose and just be on strong for a year or so, couldn't he? But a lot of people are thinking Jay White, his contract, again, I'm not sure about his contract, but
me neither.
As Jaxie said earlier, AEW and WWE would be fools not to make at least an offer,
I agree. Yeah, if it is a contract deal, definitely. And, they did say loser leaves Japan, so, it does leave a lot of possibilities out there. It could just be who knows what that actually means. It could be just sending Jay White to America. But, he's already did his strong thing. Why would you use someone? Why would you have Jay White just on strong? Why would you send them to AEW or whatever the situation is? So it's a lot of curiosity there. It may be a contract thing. This even surprised me, but I am excited to see how this all plays out, because I really be hard-pressed to believe that Hikuleo, who a lot of people were waiting for a while for him to come back to Japan. So for him to just come back to Japan, work a few months, and then just get shipped right back off, I highly doubt that's going to happen. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Jay White lost his shit, blamed everything that went wrong on Hikuleo turning on him. And there you have it.
Damn.
And the thing about Jay White as well, we talk about how crazy he is that a lot of people are crazy, like with actions or kind of what they think will look. And all Jay White does is just this stare where he looks like he's looking at it, but it's just
He's not even there.
He's not even there, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
KOPW 2023 Provisional Championship. the 4 people that we fucking were left over. Shingo Takagi defeated Sho, Toriyano, and Great Khan to win the Provisional Championship.
Okan was so close, by the way. So
I know. He had it won. Shingo nicked it from him. I did manage to see that, and I have seen the entrances for Kenny Omega teaming with Kazuchika Okada. That's right,
Yeah.
the Dream Tag Team.
That's such a dream tag team, isn't it?
Honestly, the entrance alone, the commentators, even the crowd in Japan were just like, oh, and then they touched titles. I've got to be careful what to say there. Everybody was very happy with Shingo confronting Okada once again and challenging for the heavyweight title. But yeah, it's not often after 6 hours of wrestling do I try and watch another 3. But there we go. I think that's everything, Monty, isn't it? There's not a bit of news we've missed from Japan this past few months.
Zack Sabre Jr. got Fuji the other young line to join TMDK. Thought that was funny. Zach has his own personal young boy now. Right. And he said, up yours, John Moxley, by the way. That's what
right.
So, yeah, that's not important. Yeah, thought I should tell you.
Well,
Taka Michinoku's new faction is called Just 4 Guys.
So I saw that.
Yeah, him, Taichi, Kanemaru, and Doki are just 4 guys. So that's the new faction. I love it.
But there we go.
That's it.
Like I said, we leave it with Kenny Omega as US champ. We leave it with Kazuchika Okada as the heavyweight champion. Like I said, we'll check in with New Japan next month. I think we will keep that a regular thing. So that is it. Don't forget, across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR JR. You can find the entire WNR team on the Twitter banner. Monty, where can people find and listen to you? Because you've got your own Wrestle Kingdom review that you've done yourself as well, yeah?
Yes, the review is not quite out yet, but I definitely already previewed it. I've already set the scene, but I will have my review up maybe sometime at the beginning of next week, or even probably could get it done tomorrow. But we'll see. I don't want to push it.
I'm not pressuring you. I'm not pressuring it. No, we got this one to listen to first before they listen.
Right,
to
listen to this one. Listen to this one. Yeah, there you go. At Mind Monty Pod. You can go to Mind of Monty on YouTube. Subscribe. My latest video on Mercedes making her debut got almost 4,000 views. So I appreciate everyone who's watched anything. So just continue to support. Thank you guys. Anyone out there, share everything you want to do. I appreciate it. So at Mind Monty Pod.
Yeah.
Support.
They love you more than me. They always tell me that. And another person they love more than me as well is called Jaxie. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on both Twitter and Instagram at Jaxie Scarlett.
Yep. And much like predictions, I am.
Thank you again.
I am full for the list.
Thank you again for everyone. I was going to say thank you for everyone for supporting the Justice for Jaxie rating from last week. I really appreciate it.
I was about to say, not only do I end last in predictions, but also with love from everybody. Because, of course, Gina, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter as well at Purple Pain.
Yeah, don't forget you change your banner, all right? Because I'm going to get emails, people asking if you've done it.
Send me a message and remind me, please, because I probably will forget again. So just send me a message.
That would be a bit of fun next one. We just do it on every episode to start. That's
call her out. Call her out until it's completely done. And once she's done, we'll rejoice.
It's been 2.5 years. You've still not done it. Of course, YouTube done my podcast for all the latest clips and podcasts at the same time on YouTube. They do SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes. You can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Don't worry, guys. Next time Jackson and Gina will be with us is when we check in with AEW, I guess, in a couple of weeks. Of course, Rumble at the end of the month. But our next episode will be NXT Update, New Year's Evil. Monty,
yep.
I've done this for you. You're going to have to do NXT for me. Them's the rules.
Yep. What a downer.
I'm sure New Year's Evil might come. I'm sure
I'm joking.
Indisure versus Creed Brothers can be as good as Bishamon versus FTR,
right? Like, can you even think about imagine the main event stacking up the Omega versus Okada. It doesn't even matter what it is yet.
Grayson Waller is pretty much Australian Okada.
And Breaker.
Like, we know.
Yeah. That's a good point. And, Breaker does remind me of Kenny Omega. With nothing at all. Nothing at all.
They're both men.
Or are we going to just get you all, referencing them as New Japan in the next one? I'll have to listen out.
The amount of
Australian
shit we're
Okada.
going to get.
That is bad.
That's shit already.
Someone's going to get you.
They're going to get me. How dare you compare NXT shit to what you've seen? So I'm going to leave it. I'll leave it.
Yeah.
I'll leave it. Everybody's been great. It's been a great podcast. But until then, I have been James Rollins, and I was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Glad to have you on. I know you've enjoyed it because Okada walked away with all the gold.
Yeah, I mean, of course I was. As soon as Okada won, I knew it was going to be a great time. But yeah, it's been so fun getting a chance to discuss. This is a first for me on the podcast, and it's definitely not going to be the last. So I look forward to doing some more New Japan discussion soon.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Of course, we've had the mind of Monty. And like I said, Monty, this is all down to you, whether you like it or not. Take it how you want.
Yeah, looking forward to New Year's Evil. Can't you tell? Yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, the genius of Gina. Gina, I'm sure you've enjoyed yourself here.
Yeah, it's been a great time, and I've enjoyed just doing this whole New Japan show, so I look forward to the next one.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.